It's time for Twit This Week in Tech. Great show ahead for you. Brianna Wu, Baratunde Thurston, Larry Magid. Oh my goodness, we're going to talk about the new Model 3. It came out on Friday. Will the iPhone not have a fingerprint reader? That's what the rumors are saying. And I'm going to show you my favorite gadget. Brianna says it's ugly, but I love it. It's all coming up next on Twit.
Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for This Week in Tech is provided by CacheFly at CacheFly.com. This is Twit This Week in Tech, episode 622, recorded Sunday, July 9th, 2017. Running for Human. This Week in Tech is brought to you by LegalZoom. LegalZoom's helped more than 1 million people with DBAs, LLCs, incorporation, and more. Visit LegalZoom.com and enter TWIT at the checkout for special savings. And by Casper, an online retailer of premium mattresses for a fraction of the price, because everyone deserves a great night's sleep. Get $50 off any mattress purchase by visiting Casper.com/twit and entering the promo code TWIT. And by Rocket Mortgage from Quicken Loans. Home plays a big role in your life. That's why Quicken Loans created Rocket Mortgage. It lets you apply simply and understand the entire mortgage process fully so you can be completely confident that you're getting the right mortgage for you. Get started at rocketmortgage.com/twit2. And by Tracker, a coin-sized tracking device that pairs with your smartphone and keeps you from losing your most valued possessions. Visit thetracker.com right now and enter the promo code TWIT to save 20% off any order. It's time for Twit This Week in Tech, the show where we get together with some of the best minds in technology, journalism, and talk about what's going on today. We'll start with Larry Magid, CBS Radio News, connectsafely.org, safekids.com. Nice to see you. He's looking up his Tesla order.
I got it. Got a camera? Look at this.
He's got his Tesla order number in front of him. Okay, don't show your VIN. That's apparently...
Is my VIN showing?
Never show your VIN.
The FC. No, just thank you. Your reservation is confirmed. It doesn't tell me my VIN, but...
It doesn't tell you that.
Yeah, but I do have
No,
it.
once you get your VIN, that means they're actually ready to start making
it. I was really nervous because until a minute ago... So I had to look... The email came from TeslaMotors.com.
Yeah, that used to be Tesla.com.
So I was looking for the wrong email.
Well, glad you found it. We thought he dreamed it. I
thought I'd be driving my Pinto for the rest of my life.
Also with us, running for Congress in the Massachusetts 9th District, right, Brianna Wu?
8th District.
8th District.
Yep.
Brianna Wu
that's it.
at BriannaWu2018.com. She's, of course, a game developer, Space Cat Gal, and I did not know this, but in a former life, an investigative reporter.
Good for you.
That's what I did. That's what I did. I have to tell you, your listeners and viewers on this show are freaking amazing. Every time I come on, they are just amazing. Like some of the smartest conversations I have after I leave. It's just amazing.
I have this philosophy: if you treat your audience as intelligent, which television's famous for not doing.
Yes, that's true.
That you get an intelligent audience. I don't know why. It's crazy. Crazy talk. Anyway, wonderful. But part of the way I do that is have people like you, Brianna, on. So thank you for being here. And speaking of smarty pants, here's Mr. Baratunde Thurston, futurist, comedian,
Harvard grad,
activist. Notice we put the Harvard comma in your lower third, just for you.
I'm a fan of that. I was taught to type that way well before I even heard of Harvard, and then people who do it another way, I trust them less.
Well, what's funny is people who go to Oxford call it the Oxford comma. So there's apparently some dispute over the.
It's the elitist comma, regardless of which side of the pond.
Well, maybe since you are a Harvard man, you could help me with this. Should you use a Harvard comma before an ampersand?
Ooh, I think you should.
You should.
Okay.
Yeah. Just checking. See. He earned that degree. Baratunde's doing something new. We're going to talk about that in just a little bit, but we're glad to have all three of you here to talk about the week's tech news. And I guess that was one big story. And our studio audience reminded me that on Friday, Elon Musk tweeted the first #1 Model 3.
Off the assembly line.
Which is a big deal. This is the first relatively affordable Tesla.
Yep.
Yeah.
Although, you're going to have to pay an extra $5,000 for the software. If you want auto,
you don't get autopilot automatically.
You had to pay for that too on your
you do.
It's crazy.
So I'll tell you what Elon does. It's really interesting. He's actually, and he'd have to be to do this, but I will give him full marks for being the I don't know, the amazing visionary. I want to call him the Tony Stark of our generation.
Okay.
I think that's fair.
He's Iron
Right?
Man.
I think that's fair. He's Iron Man.
Yeah.
But he's also, and I think you have to be a brilliant marketer. So a lot of the features you'll find on your new car, Larry, first of all, cost money, but also the truth is a Tesla is really just an electric go-kart. And then they put on it this stuff that makes you want it bad, like the bioweapon defense mode.
Wait, what?
Okay.
Are you serious?
My Model X has a bioweapon defense mode. It even has the biohazard, that weird logo on it. And it costs money because it's like some super filter or something. It's probably just a HEPA filter, right? But Elon's brilliant. He calls it the bioweapon defense mode and puts a bioweapon logo on it, and you pay thousands more for it.
And what are you protected from?
Well, bioweapons.
So
if the screen says anthrax ahead, I will be ready.
I could have used that car at Berkeley.
Yeah. And actually, yeah, that's right. Tear gas and the like.
And so my autopilot's going to cost me $5,000, right?
Yeah. So they tout the autopilot.
Yeah.
But you do have to be fair. You are paying for not just software but additional hardware. You have to have
I thought the hardware
radar and lidar. You mean there's hardware in it?
I thought that the car was hardware equipped all the way up to autonomy.
Oh,
right?
maybe. I don't know.
They say every Tesla that's being built
Is that true?
had the hardware for autonomous driving.
Oh, okay. You have hardware, what they call hardware platform 2.
You're unlocking the hardware.
Oh, that does seem a little expensive.
So you're paying to unlock the hardware that's already there.
So the car is a platform, and then you get to pay to access its features.
That's exactly, you said it better than I did, but that's exactly what I was saying.
So can I get a third-party app? Can I get a third-party app? No.
Can you make it a BMW?
Although we've learned from hackers who have hacked the Tesla that it is running Ubuntu Linux.
Wow.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah. I don't know. I have friends of mine. They've worked for Tesla before, and what I hear about the culture there is it's really great when Elon can concentrate on your area of the company, and then it's just like radio silence if he's concentrating on something else. So I don't know, but I think because the Model 3, so much of the future of Tesla is, it's riding on this car. Right. I knew it was going to be big when people I knew that, weren't millionaires, like people that just do reasonably well in their career when they were lining up to buy this car. So I think it's going to be a smash success.
Since you brought up this, that you had a friend who worked there have been claims that Tesla, too, has this endemic harassment problem that seems to be very common in Silicon Valley. Did your friend talk about it or know about any of this?
She really has not mentioned anything about it, but she also left it a few years ago. I'll ask her next time we hang out, but no.
Hey, Brianna, I have a question for you. So I have a friend who was mentioned in the New York Times article as one of the people who had sexually harassed. So if I run into him, what do I say to him? Are you
talking about Mark Cantor?
I'm not going to name names.
Yeah. Well, same problem. And Mark is so the people we talked about this last week, of course. In fact, we had Katie Benner, the author of the Times article, on briefly.
Oh wow, she's great.
She's great.
Yeah, I expect to see him at a party show.
Credit to Reed Albergati at The Information. Actually, credit going back to Susan Fowler, the blogger who blew
this whole thing open.
And it's clear that harassment is pervasive throughout the world.
Wherever men go, there goes harassment, and we all need to do better.
And so I don't think Silicon Valley is unique in this respect. What's surprising is that you expect better of the people we all know who are, kind of at least pay lip service to kind of forward progressive thinking. And so of course, Dave McClure of 500 Startups, after this article, immediately pled mea culpa.
Right.
Said, I'm a creep, literally, in his Medium post, and has stepped down. I'm a creep. I'm sorry. Some said that his apology didn't go far enough. I don't know. At least he acknowledged it. Chris Sacca, who was also named, has not yet copped to it. But Mark Cantor, most of all,
sort of did, yeah.
Sort of did.
Yeah.
I have more work to do, which is about as least.
We all have more work to do.
Yeah. Who doesn't?
Yeah.
Just like a Tesla.
Right, exactly.
We all need more firmware updates.
But Mark, I like Mark. I like Mark. I know Mark, and he has denied it again and again. Maybe rightly so. I don't know I don't know. Mm-hmm. We don't know.
I think I would say this, like if it were my friend, something I've realized is for me as a white person, when I see people that may not be doing their part for people of color, I have a responsibility to speak up because there's just less risk for me as a white person. Right. So I think if you're a dude in tech, I would personally appreciate if you would speak up and pull your friends aside and talk to them about this. Because
if I see it. When I see somebody acting out, I will do it.
Sure.
I don't know if I need to go pile on.
Because you're not going to, right. You're not going to see it the same way that we are. It's so tough. And I think one thing I would like to see is more of a culture where people can make mistakes and have a second chance. I mean, I know for me, I would hope today in 2017, I'm a better ally to groups I'm not a part of than I was in 2010, right? So I think all of us are kind of waking up and realizing things need to change. And if someone comes forward and says, I made a mistake, I need to do better, my strongest inclination is to give them the benefit of the doubt that they want to change. Give them a second chance, maybe not a third chance, but give everybody a chance to make their mistakes right.
And I would add on to that. I mean, I think also give them that nudge. Part of why people were upset with Dave was there's this Christina Yo wrote about it. I think it's in our show notes about these levels of inappropriateness. And when male sexual aggression, all scales of it get lumped under inappropriate, anything from aggressive language to physical aggressive pursuit that is unsolicited and even resisted, all of those aren't equally inappropriate. Right. So we need a better language and a better scale and better reporting mechanisms within any organization, whether it's a nonprofit or a company. And the last thing I would say, I mean, Brianna brought it up, it's always useful to flip the switch, but I will second her notion about I will see racism way more easily every time because everything's racist. Right. But also, there's a handoff in the battle for justice on the racial side where you're just like, okay, white people, you have things to do to help move this forward that I will never be able to do. And I think as men, there are layers to the sexism in our society that if men aren't talking to other men about it, it just won't move as quickly and as deeply as it needs to. So we need to have some uncomfortable conversations as men with other men about the culture we've been brought up in and about challenging each other, our language, our behavior. And in the aftermath of an incident like this, for those of us who have access to the men named and especially the ones not named, bringing it up before there's even further incidents to be repeated on top of that.
Well, it's funny you mentioned about
our hard work to do.
The range of inappropriate material. You remember a couple weeks ago, some media outlets made a big deal about the fact that Donald Trump had an Irish female reporter in his office, in the Oval Office, and he kind of flirted with her. He said something, "Oh, nice smile." And on the range of a scale of the things that Donald Trump has done in terms of harassing women, that's way on the innocent side, in my opinion.
Right.
Yet they made a big deal about it. I'm thinking, wait a minute, let's remember back to grab your. Can you say the P word on Twitter?
I don't think you need to. Everybody knows what you're about.
Sadly, everybody knows.
I think we need to put everything in context. Is what I'm saying.
I would push back on you just a little bit on that. Put yourself in that woman's shoes. She's worked her entire career. If you're a woman journalist, talk to your friends that work that. They're constantly faced with being treated as sex objects and not professionals. And here she is in a really big moment of her career. And she's being kind of treated as a sex object and not a professional. So I understand what you're saying about the seriousness of that. But I do think we need a culture where men kind of are aware of that.
No,
because I'm sure it was very professionally embarrassing for her.
Yeah, that's part of the problem, isn't it? Is we're not as aware as we maybe ought to be of how things that sound, I think many guys would say, oh, but that's just saying something nice. How is that? And we need to get more aware of how that can be patronizing and problematic. And
there's a huge, we're definitely not. We all grow up in the same perverse stew with all the biases baked in. And I think what's fascinating about what's happening now is that, like, we are having this conversation. There is clearly a wave, and it's not just men's behavior that is less acceptable. It's women feeling increasingly comfortable stepping up. I mean, this would not have happened to this degree in the 50s, in the 70s, in the 90s, or even in the earlier part of the 2000s. And so you can have a Susan Fowler and a Christine Yeoh and a Sarah Kunst, and these are out on personal websites, in the New York Times, on blogs, in video. So there's something, the culture is shifting, and we all have to kind of catch up and stay relevant. And I think for, this show and shows like it, like if you're in technology, you're really proud of being on the cutting edge. You're an early adopter. I think that early adoption extends past the latest operating system and the latest Tesla model to like the latest, social interaction firmware and the latest sort of human rights operating system and the latest like interhuman respect protocols that we are now realizing, we have to update all of our stuff as well, kind of our meatware, not just our software. Yeah.
If I could add one more thing to this, I think it is so easy to go after someone on Twitter and blast them and attack them. And I do think holding people accountable is very useful. But something I try to do is, rather than attacking other people on this subject, I try to ask myself, what do I need to do better? Because it's so much easier to change yourself than other people. So like the last game my studio put out, we had no characters that were people of color. And we had a very small staff of 5 people, but none of those were people of color that were on our engineering team. And for me as a leader, I have to hold myself accountable and know that going forward, I need to make different hiring decisions. So I wish all of us would take more of a look at ourselves about what we need to change rather than constantly directing it towards others. Because I just think it leads to this, it just leads to everybody attacking everybody all the time.
Well, it's also interesting to think that Silicon Valley, which thinks of itself as a very progressive area, really has a lot of work to do, and it cannot put itself in a superior position vis-a-vis the rest of the country. I mean, we can't sit here and complain about how people are acting in the hinterland.
In fact, if there is a bright side to this, that is it.
Yeah.
Because we really, I shouldn't say we, I don't know if I include myself in this, but Silicon Valley definitely thinks it's better than everybody else.
It does.
Right?
Yeah.
and I guess we.
And it thinks it's more, and it also thinks it's more diverse. And yes, it's true. You can see people of different ethnicities around, but if you actually look at the power structure of Silicon Valley, it's pretty undiverse.
It's really good to remember that, because I think technologists, and particularly in Silicon Valley, we think we're smarter than everybody else. We're more sensitive. We're more enlightened. And it's probably a very good message that, we're just as flawed as everybody else. Maybe more so. Who knows?
So. Well, also
Silicon Valley is made of people.
It's made of people.
Soylent Green.
Yeah, but there's a lesson there, and the lesson is, because I think technocrats are eyeing public office. I think we've talked about this before with Mark Zuckerberg, and I know Jason Calacanis wants to run for mayor of San Francisco. I heard about this woman named Brianna Wu who wants to be a Congress person. And now I don't think of this of you, Brianna, actually, but I think that people like Zuckerberg think that because they are technologists and entrepreneurs and they're so vastly successful, would bring, a skill set to politics that doesn't exist right now.
So when's the last time
it's very dismissive, right? Oh, well, I know better. I could do a better job.
When's the last time a billionaire ran for president, and how did that work out?
I don't think he's a billionaire, but I know where you're going with that.
Yeah, somebody who claims to be, who thinks he's very smart because he thinks he ran a successful business, and he thinks that the skill set in running his real estate empire somehow applies to America. Well,
this is
Mark Zuckerberg's different than him, but not necessarily any more qualified.
Not so different. Yeah,
in some ways.
It's a completely different skill set. Like if I'm running a business and I get 5% margin, I'm going to be a multimillionaire. If you're running for office, you have to get 51% of the vote, and it's just a completely different game. And I completely agree with you, Leo. I am among those that are terrified of the idea of him running for office. I think it's a massive conflict of interest. I think I can think of very few people that would be worse in that role.
Is it a conflict of interest because he could use the vast power of Facebook to promote his candidacy? Is that the problem?
Absolutely. Or he has such a massive control over news. I mean, there was a Bond movie about this very subject.
Is he a Bond villain?
Oh yeah.
I think he could be.
He could
I think
be.
he could be. Yeah.
Does he have a volcano anywhere? We need to know. I'll lend him my Dr. Evil chair if he wants it.
Should do that.
Hawaii. He probably, you know what? He does. And he's building a fence around it. You also understand why he would think he'd be better at this job. But this is a common misconception. For instance, you very often hear, well, I have to balance my checkbook. Why can't the government balance its checkbook? It's just kind of a fundamental misunderstanding of how government works, right?
Yeah. I mean, my read of him, kind of moving more into the political realm is more like him trying to rehabilitate his image. And, there's very much a trend of when, the 1% of the 1% amass a certain amount of money, they take great pains to rise their standing in public opinion. You saw this in the age of Pinkerton. So I think that I just read it as him trying to raise his profile to be seen as a nice guy so Facebook can accomplish more political goals.
That's interesting.
He's not running for president. Mark Zuckerberg is running for human. And he just wants us to all think of him as like, I'm a human just like you. I just bring my security detail and a group of people on laptops and pre-announce my arrival into a small Midwestern town and impose myself on a family just like humans do. That's human, right?
I think we're being
He's kind of like a droid. He is.
No,
He's very much like Data saying, no, I am human.
I think we're being a little unfair.
Okay.
Of course we are. There's humor in unfairness.
You're a comedian. You can get away with anything.
But I'll try to be fair. There is, I read someone's account, and I don't remember whose it was, unfortunately, that his movements, suspicious, furtive movements about the heartland and swing states was less about him running for president than it was about trying to kind of reconnect with the user and reconnect with the people. And, having been a bit blindsided by the election results and knowing that his platform played a result in spreading some of the misinformation and propaganda around that, he wanted to kind of get back out there and see what's really going on. And he certainly wants his platform to be in the middle of every possible interaction that we have, whether it's you and your family, you and your politician, you and your neighbor. Like Facebook wants to be that human to human interface that we cannot connect without.
But if you think about it, he lives in a bubble instead of a bubble. I mean, he's living in Silicon Valley. That's a bubble enough. He's living at Facebook. That's a bubble. And as CEO and a multi-billionaire, he's got, he's even more of a bubble.
Got a financial bubble,
anything that any of these guys can do to actually find out about the real world is probably extremely useful. So I actually give him credit for that.
That's not, I don't know if it's related, but did you hear the story about Mark Zuckerberg and his security detail in San Francisco? This is Phil Matirin-Ross writing in the San Francisco Chronicle. Apparently there's a transient who's been harassing Zuckerberg's security detail. And he's been doing it over and over again. Yeah, you know a little bit about harassment, I know, Brianna. On June 14th, he was arrested for driving his car towards the protected. Zuckerberg has 16 former Oakland cops surrounding his home in Dolores, in the Dolores Park, Dolores Heights neighborhood, and he drove the car towards him and swerved off at the last minute, and he's been jailed before, but they won't let the security detail testify, according to Matirin-Ross, who are well-known investigative journalists in San Francisco, because they're former Oakland cops with troubled records, and they're afraid of putting them on the stand.
Wow.
I don't know. Wow. There's nothing to say there. I
don't know anything about that.
Yeah,
no, I never hear.
Weird.
It's a weird story. It's not really a tech story. So, but since we're talking about
anything we've talked about today, but directly a tech story.
Yeah. Apparently, Facebook is considering a £1 billion offer to buy a soccer team, Tottenham.
Really?
A football club?
A football club.
That's strange.
No, this is coming from the Sun, so consider the source. But
strange.
Wait, Zuckerberg wants to buy it?
He wants to buy a soccer. No, it's probably Zuckerberg.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, okay. That makes more sense.
Last season's Premier League runners-up, according to the Sunday Times.
Wow. Oh my
Obama
goodness.
owns a basketball team, so why not?
You know, when you have that much money, it's like me saying, let's go down to the corner and get a pizza.
Exactly,
It's just, today I'd like a soccer club. You know any we could buy? All right, let's take a break. We'll talk. There's lots more to talk about, including, you remember we were talking about the Nokia 3310 phone, really lovely phone. According to TechCrunch, you can now buy a very special edition commemorating President Trump's meeting with Vladimir Putin.
What?
Can you find out what
on my
happened?
screen
Will the
right
phone give
now.
you a
Why
readout
is-
of the actual?
I think that's
God.
lovely. I think that's lovely.
Sweet.
It's called the
Hold
Caviar.
on, guys. I got my credit card. I gotta buy this right now. This is amazing.
It's $2,500, and of course the 3310 is the Nokia phone that brings back that great candy bar style and design. 149,000 rubles.
What does that come to in dollars?
$2,500.
Oh, that's the 2,500. I see.
Yeah.
I'm a little slow today.
Look at that. Isn't that
Yep.
that's pretty?
That's
I think
disgusting.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
telling
terrible.
you,
I can't.
that's an
I
investment.
can't.
That will be valuable someday.
So
Wow.
for the people who are listening on tape delay, we were just assaulted visually by the image of a candy bar phone with a fake wood paneled skin and gold commemorative coin embossed with two tyrannical despot profiles of Vladimir Putin and Donald Trump. G20 Germany 2017. It's the Caviar phone. If you want to make your day a little worse or a little more ridiculous, you should Google it and see what I was just forced to see without opting into the experience.
Wow.
That this is tremendous. This is horrible.
And I've just been handed this by John Slanina, who is, of course, an expert on Pink Floyd. He's our Pink Floyd archivist here at the Twit Studios. The lyrics of Money go, and I never listen to the lyrics, but chung 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 boom boom boom. Money, get away, get a good job with more pay and you're okay. Money, it's a gas. Grab that cash with both hands and make a stash. New car, Caviar. There's the phone. 4-star daydream. Think I'll buy me a football team. So we now know where Mark Zuckerberg got that
Wow.
idea.
So they're just playing out the song. All right. It was written, as
it's
they
written.
say.
Get the phone, get the team, you're done.
All right.
And
Yeah,
then
we were
just-
talking before the show about career-ending mistakes. I'm just imagining if I bought one of these and like people saw me with it.
I desperately
They would
want
assume
this
They would
phone.
assume you did it ironically,
God.
and that this was like a
I
hit move
would
on your
love
part.
to whip this phone out at my next meeting and say, wait a minute, I got to take a call. Pootie,
I mean,
how are you?
Here's the benefit of this phone. It doesn't look like you can tweet with it. So maybe this is the phone the
Oh.
president should
We
use.
should give that to the Donald Trump, right?
Oh, he should get
Yeah,
that.
it's just got a number pad. There's no keyboard.
Yeah,
and
no, the
screen seems too
3310,
small
as I
for-
remember, the 3310 does have internet, but yeah, you'd have to type your tweets on the number pad. Which
He'd
is-
have to do T9 tweeting.
Twitter app.
That's a bot someone should create. Trump T9 tweets. Just to,
It might explain Kofivi. I don't know. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back with more. I want to talk about what Baratunde is up to at Medium, because that's starting soon, and I think that's something you're going to be interested in. And then, of course, we'll do a little, we'll make it phone time. We'll do a fundraising for Brianna Wu. We'll see what we can.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Phone time. That's what they call it. Phone time when you call to make.
Call time.
Call
You do.
time.
You get lists of people that have traditionally donated to Democrats before, and you go through and you call them, and it is terrible because I hate, like anyone that works in technology, I hate talking on the phone. So yeah, I've clearly made a big career mistake doing this.
It's what you do, though. That's the problem with all of this. Is that, and that's really, I think, one of the things that's wrong with politics in this country is that your job now is fundraising.
I agree. I completely agree.
Yeah. He has a song which he sang for Terry Gross that he sings during call time. Senator Al Franken does the lyrics. I'll have to find it. Let's see if we can find it. It was on Fresh Air, and he sang it, and it's actually pretty funny. Our show today brought to you by LegalZoom. LegalZoom is not a law firm, but it's actually something kind of better. When I wanted to start Twit, these many years ago, I called my friend Kevin Rose, who started a few businesses. I said, what do I do? He said, you want to make an LLC, and you want to go to LegalZoom, and it's cheap and it's easy, and then you'll be protected. We are still a LegalZoom LLC. LegalZoom lets you do the legal work you need to build a business, to protect your family with a will. A lot of the stuff you can do yourself online at LegalZoom.com. It's really important. I'm really learning this, that you got to cross the T's and dot the I's. One little slip up on a contract or a misunderstanding can set you back. LegalZoom is the way to start your business, but it goes well beyond business formation. They have a network of independent attorneys who can help you answer those day-to-day legal questions at a fixed rate. No more $350 an hour bills. You know what you're paying.
My lawyer is $450.
Yeah, I know. I have a cheap lawyer.
Really?
I have a very cheap. By the way, I get what I'm paying for. But let's face it, things like trademarks and employment law and lease agreements can get very complicated. Don't waste your valuable time trying to wrap your head around all the fine print. Use LegalZoom and focus on your business. That's why you got in business, to do the thing you love. You can get legal help without being billed by the hour. LegalZoom's not a law firm, but they will help connect you with attorneys in almost every state. Go to LegalZoom.com today, and if you use the offer code TWIT in the referral box, you'll get additional savings. LegalZoom.com. I'm forever grateful to LegalZoom. We did our trademarks through them. It's a really great way. And I think Lisa did her will. They said it's nice when you get your will, they send you this box of materials. It makes it very easy to do. LegalZoom.
I'm about 90% sure we set up our game studio through them too, because it's like you said, it's the LLC stuff. It's all standard. It's great.
Easy.
You just pay a few dollars. It's very easy.
And I had a question. At the time, they didn't have this referral service, which is great, so you could ask questions, because I wasn't sure what state to do it in. Did you have to deal with this, Brianna? Do you remember? I wasn't sure. Should I incorporate in California or what? I ended up doing Delaware because somebody told me Delaware
because it's the cheapest and you've got the most.
It isn't the cheapest because you still pay business taxes in California, so it doesn't save me any money.
Oh no!
So I don't know I don't know why I did it, but I did. I think I know why. Somebody said, "Oh, if you're ever going to go out and look for venture funding, they like it if you're in Delaware."
I did my nonprofit Delaware because I was able to get it instantly. I mean, I was like incorporated like in a second. Wow, I'm a corporation.
Yeah.
Just right away.
Yeah, it's awesome. I'll tell you. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about some tech. What do you rumors? Should we talk about rumors? Apple's rumored that they're not going to do a fingerprint reader on the next iPhone.
Yep.
And this comes not just from Ming-Chi Kuo, famous Apple rumor monger. He's actually an analyst for KGI Securities and is in deep touch with the supply chain in China. He said, because you're going to do an edge-to-edge OLED screen, at least on the top of the line iPhone, they're not going to do a fingerprint reader on it. They can't. There were rumors they were going to try to do it through the screen.
Right.
They've apparently, according to, by the way, not just Ming-Chi Kuo now, we've got Mark Gurman, who's the king of Apple rumors, saying it as well on his Bloomberg Technology reporting. They're going to do face recognition.
Right. Face and iris.
And iris scanning.
And they'll do it almost instantaneously, less than a second.
So I have a lot of developer questions about this subject. So if you watch the the WWDC this year, the State of the Union, with the AR kit, they premiered a lot of stuff, but all use depth sensors, which only exists on the iPhone Plus. And a lot of the tricks that they used were only on those phones with those depth sensors. So I can see them doing this, but it just seems like, Touch ID took so long to get over onto the Mac for Apple Pay. And then I just think they're going to have to get that depth sensor technology in there for faces because it's so vulnerable to holding like a picture up to the camera.
And that's what Microsoft does with Microsoft Hello. This is a Hello. This is the Surface Studio. When I log in, I can do it with a face. It does a very good job. But because they're using not just two-dimensional measurements, but also 3D sensing. This is very much like a Kinect camera in here. There's two cameras. Yeah. It's supposedly more reliable, and it won't be fooled by things like a picture of me.
Right.
Right.
But what if you need to unlock your phone in the dark?
Oh,
well, you got to light it.
Wow, that's a very good question. Well, I guess you'll have to use the password. Yeah.
I find that
the old-fashioned way.
On this Hewlett-Packard Hello doesn't work a lot of the time. I finally turned it off because
it requires some special hardware.
Well, it's got the hardware, but not good enough.
All the Microsoft stuff I've used is pretty good. It's pretty quick.
So I just type in my PIN.
You wear glasses though.
That's it. Yeah.
So train it with and without glasses, and it's possible to overtrain.
So you're saying the computers don't make passes at boys who wear glasses?
No, not you anyway.
Not me. Okay. All right.
You're the hot tech journalist in glasses.
That's right.
Have you let your hair down, Larry? My Larry, you're beautiful.
So
Anyway.
is this supposed to be more secure than what Samsung did with face recognition?
Yes.
Because I know you could fool that. And then the iris scan, I met some people who fooled it. They just printed out a picture of your eye, put it on a ball, like taped it to a golf ball, held that up, and then boom, unlocked the phone.
Why can't they make you blink or something? I mean, I've seen some technology where you have to blink, you have to do something to show you're a moving object.
Sometimes some of the software does this. It was the Chaos Computer Club that did that, Bertone. In fact, there's a great video of them doing this crack. They took a picture of a guy, and not even that much of a close-up picture, with a simple point-and-shoot camera, and were able to use that picture from a distance to create as you say, an image of his iris, which they then bent around something, and it fooled the Samsung.
Amazing.
So you always think of iris scanning as being the best way to do this.
Right.
I don't know. I think this would be a bit of a shock. But again, Apple's not afraid of that kind of thing. Remember, Apple did the same thing with the headphone jack.
Right.
Didn't we all a year ago say, oh, they'll never get rid of the headphone jack?
They also got rid of the floppy disk before anybody else did. So.
Yeah. I mean, I think the security fact is there's no method of authentication that's 100% secure. Not a password, not a fingerprint, not anything. I mean, so this is going to be just as fallible. And I think this is why Apple requires you periodically to enter in your real password when you're doing things like changing the system or anything really critical. So, I don't have any huge objection to it. It just seems a little shocking given, all the work they've done to get Apple Pay up to a standard. I mean, if Apple Pay and Secure Enclave are going to work with facial recognition, that's great. I think they'd have to, for the dark problem, I think they'd have to have something like the Connect sensor in there, which it can sense in the dark because it's shooting out IR beams. So I don't know. It's going to be tough to solve.
Yeah.
I think if there's, this is connected to another story that was in the rundown, but if this were Google doing this, I'd be more freaked out, or Facebook, because they like to capture as much media information, biometric data as possible, and hoard it and store it and sell it. But Apple doesn't have that business. So I think if there is a company that's going to be like taking 3D scans of my face, and I had to choose, is it Amazon, Apple, Facebook, or Google? I would choose the least of the four evils with respect to privacy, which I think is Apple in this case.
I hear there's always this impression that Apple protects your privacy better, but I also hear again and again, and even security experts saying, "Oh, I would never use an Android phone. If you want to be secure, use an iPhone." Do you all agree with that?
I hear that. No, I don't agree. I hear it.
Yeah.
But I don't agree.
You don't agree?
I mean, look, I think everything has a risk, and Androids have risks, and there are probably somewhat more risks on Android than there are on iOS, but I don't know. It's a risk I guess I'm willing to take because I use an Android phone.
And no one would say that, I do too, no one would say that iOS is flawless or without malware or hacking. And I'm not convinced. I also am not convinced that Apple. I agree that Apple, with you, Barrett, today, Apple is not collecting information in the same way because Google, after all, makes its money through advertising. Apple makes its money through selling hardware. Right. So their business models are different.
No. Apple makes its money through selling a way of life.
A dream. The dream.
A hope of a better you. That's how Apple makes its money.
Yeah, well, that's, to be strictly honest, that's exactly right.
Well, are we talking security or privacy? I mean,
there's two things. I brought up both.
Yeah. Well, and they're both issues. Because one thing is that the Apple Store is a little better at vetting apps than the Google Store is, so you're more likely to get an insecure app coming onto the Android platform than the iOS.
That's true.
And then the privacy issue, there's no question.
But again, I'll raise that point that it's not free of malicious apps on the iOS store.
Right. Yeah.
Some get through all the time. We hear stories of them getting through.
No, at the end of the day, it's sort of like Brianna was talking about, there's no perfect security. At the end of the day, we're all responsible for our own security. I mean, making sure you vet the apps you use, making sure you don't download rogue apps. How many times have you looked for an app and you type in the name of a product and you get another company's app that comes up in the search, and you blindly, if you blindly install it and accept it, you could very well have a rogue app simply because you were just not quite careful enough of what you downloaded. So we're still responsible for our
And
behavior.
yet I hear,
See,
and in
but
fact,
I want to do a legal solution on that. I think we've got to have a consumer bill of rights when it comes to privacy. Like, we're clearly having companies that have predatory practices that just take advantage of normal people. As far as the question, iPhone or Android, I think both are fine operating systems with fine security architecture. To me, it's the update issue. Android just does not update their operating system frequently enough for me to have confidence.
Well, the handset makers don't. I mean, I have a Pixel phone. Mine's up to date because it's a Google phone.
And I have the Nexus 6P for my second phone, and I use that, so it's pretty solid. But it's just
so security,
it's
if you can
trust
afford it,
of the
basically.
Google Play phone.
Yeah,
basically. And for me, like, I look at John Podesta, who basically caused a lot of problems by clicking a link. So I'm very, very cognizant of that, right? But I think ultimately the answer is we've got to. I think we've got to pass new protections for consumers. We make sure our drugs are safe. We make sure our roads are safe. We make sure our buildings are safe. I think we need to start looking and making sure, like, your software can't just suck up massive amounts of information about you.
As a technologist who wants to be a legislator, how do you, Ms. Legislator, keep up with the technology? Because Congress isn't particularly good at keeping up with technology. I mean, so how do you create laws that are kind of, agnostic when it comes to technology, so that you don't wind up putting the technologists into a box?
That's a great question. The way I want to do it is I want to say, if you are holding massive amounts of data, you are liable for keeping that data safe. Now, that doesn't mean you can't ever be hacked, but it means if you are not following the best practices of information security, then, you could very well end up in court.
Congress can say that, but it can't tell them how to make it safe, because Congress isn't very
I think we've got to make external boards that look at that and update it. We just had a political operation that let out a huge database of voter information out there. They threw it on a server in plain text without encryption and without even a password. That is massively reckless. They should end up in court. Someone that just makes happens to get hacked when they're following best practices, you're good. But I think until there's a legal consequence for this, it's expensive to do information security right.
So that's two different things. So there is, and I agree with you, there should be legal consequences for not doing it right and letting stuff out. But I think I also agree with Larry. I wouldn't want government to proscribe how to do it right, or even to say, well, you have to do it right. I think it strikes me that what Congress should do is make penalties for doing it wrong.
Yeah.
Doesn't that seem, do you understand the distinction I'm making?
As a non-legislator, can I weigh in with some BS?
Go ahead. Yeah.
Totally uninformed, but theoretically possible. The way the lines are being drawn, I would also add that there needs to be some regulatory or legislative. Basically, the people need to say what belongs to whom. And I think one of the biggest problems with privacy and security around our private information is that it is not seen as our information. That this is now intellectual property of Facebook, intellectual property of Google, and my browser history, my search history, my location history, my message history doesn't belong to me. And it can be shut off at any moment, even though there's a huge chunk of my identity and my own value tied up in these services. I don't have any recourse if they lose it, or so it's the property line seems to me is drawn in the wrong place. Whereas if we were talking about my clothes that I purchased and own, or my home that I'm legally leasing, if someone damaged it or caused it to be damaged through reckless endangerment, they would have some sort of liability. But their view of me is considered to be theirs as opposed to me. So.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. Though I think it's a very tricky legal question to solve. What I want to do is I want to put an external board. Like if you look at standards like, H264, right? That standard is decided by some engineers on a board that look at it and make decisions. I think with that same way, if we can get people that aren't politicians, so it's not politicized, to be making a set of best standards the same way, electrical engineers come through and update the electrical code for the building we're all sitting in. I think that's the way to do it. So keep it with experts and don't keep it in politicians' hands.
We used to have something like that in Congress.
They fired them all.
the Office of Technology Assessment was designed to be exactly what you described. So it's part of your platform to bring that back.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hallelujah.
Absolutely.
All right. You got my illegitimate vote here from New York. So.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to vote twice for you. That's how much I like you.
Okay.
Oh, voter fraud. Get that commission on you.
No, and I actually have some, we have also some selfish reasons. We want to have a pipeline into Congress with you, Brianna. So please get elected.
I will take your call anytime.
Please,
we'll give you on
please
speed dial. Absolutely.
No, but I think that this is actually for everybody in the U.S. and any country watching this. I think it is a really, if you're watching this, you're a technology enthusiast, probably techno-literate. This is an important thing for us to be aware of. We need to have people in government who understand this and need to support
But
them.
you also bring up an important point when you say any country. So as you know, Leo, I run Connect Safely and work in the internet safety field. And one of the complexities of that is you get a Facebook and a Google. They're based here in the United States. They have hundreds of millions of customers all over the world. And to create a regulatory environment in a global marketplace is incredibly difficult. And again, I'm not suggesting government has no role. I agree government has a role to regulate. But when you start regulating, for example, right now the Europeans are doing this data regulation policy, which is going to have a huge impact on Silicon Valley, even though these companies are located thousands of miles away from Europe. So whether you're the U.S. or any other government, you have to really think through how your regulations are going to affect things and how do these companies deal with these multiple different jurisdictions, states, countries. It's complicated. I'm just saying that it's not as easy, I think, as regulating electrical panels.
Yeah.
No, I think if you ask Zuckerberg in his heart of hearts, like if you could get him to take some kind of controlled substance and be super honest, he would want Facebook to be that global government because it actually has more constituents, more citizens than any nationally bound, city state or nation state than we have. And who better to be able to understand global implications and consequences than a global platform like that. So I think if you are the biggest, baddest, most well-armed and well-funded government, of course, speaking of Canada now, then you still don't hold a candle to the reach, the influence, and the kind of the sheer connectivity of a pseudo-government like Facebook. Could be. They could flip a switch. There could be an update to Facebook, and now we got a Facebook government,
Yeah.
Frightening thought.
Every science fiction novel I know of, including Neuromancer, talks about corporate governance and that the multinationals are ultimately going to be who rules the world. That's science fiction.
We have to wait till Zuckerberg has a son-in-law who we can put in charge of things.
You don't have to stretch too hard to imagine, though, that these. I mean, look, it's really true that minus the nuclear weapons, Facebook is in many ways an international power.
It is.
Yeah.
Of course, nuclear weapons make a big difference. Having tanks does make a big difference. I don't anticipate Facebook.
But, in some ways, I almost feel like, tanks and weapons are a less relevant, way to influence things today, like economic warfare, cyber warfare, information warfare. All of this stuff is all the more relevant. So, something I feel really strongly about is I think that when we think about serving our country, we think about somebody in a uniform with a gun. And that's a fine thing to do, but it's not the only way to solve problems. And I do think that we need people that care about technology, that understand technology, to step up and help improve this policy. Maybe that's run for office yourself. Maybe it's donate to a candidate that gets it. But we are the ones that understand this stuff. And clearly our current leadership just doesn't.
I was very saddened by, and I'm sure you all read I think it was a Medium post by, I'm trying to find it now, the guy who was working in our, was it J18? What was it called? The government. Do you know what I'm talking about? The government organization designed to streamline government, who's finally decided to resign.
Oh, 18F.
18F.
Yeah, it's part of the U.S. Digital Service.
Yeah.
But I didn't see about this resignation, and I loved what those folks were doing under Obama for sure, and there's still good people deployed in all the agencies doing good work to make government more effective, but
I'm talking about
who resigned?
Noah Kunin, who was the
infrastructure director.
You knew this, yeah. And he had written a blog post in November, right after the election, why I'm staying at 18F. He wrote a blog post this week, why I'm not staying at 18F. And I think, what happened between election and inauguration day, he said the people with the matches are inside the house.
Yeah.
Oh no!
And he was. I think it's a sad and scary post because he feels like, in particular, that the issue is not merely that President Trump is unfit, but that he is asking for the personal loyalty to him of people in government.
Yes.
And he says that this is a significant issue, and I gather that he feels like it's not going well at 18F, and that giving positions of power to people based on favoritism or nepotism or how easily they can be controlled from above is a dangerous norm for our democracy. The White House's complete disregard of merit and Trump's fetish with personal loyalty is becoming systemic and is getting worse. And so he feels like it's just so this is the thing that really scares me. You don't want to chase the smart people, the effective people out. Yeah. And Noah was one of the smart, effective people.
The head of the ethics office just resigned this week as well. I mean,
And the thing is, the timing is extremely bad because we are more than ever, and I really am concerned about this, faced with cyber warfare from other national governments, from other countries, nation states. In an unprecedented way, we are seeing hacking, we're seeing attacks, we're seeing probing of the power grid of nuclear facilities. This is widespread. Everybody knows it. Everybody knows it's happening. And yet, and so now more than ever, we need a plan as a country and a way forward to this. And I feel like
Can I tell you a story that isn't being covered at all? You know, here in Boston, we have Merck, which is one of the biggest pharmaceutical giants in the entire planet. Merck, this is a really, really important company. They've been shut down since June here in Boston. Right. Their huge facility here, one of the biggest employers in Massachusetts, because they were hit by a ransomware attack. And every single employee there is just on paid vacation. And you can drive to their parking lot and nobody's there. You know, this is such an unbelievably huge issue. And you know, the committee I hope to serve on is the Science and Technology Subcommittee. As best as I can tell, they have no plans for this. They are not addressing this in a realistic way. And it's just like you said, it's utterly terrifying. You know, here in Boston, we have 2 nuclear power plants that are in the kill range of Boston. So when I read stories in the New York Times and the Washington Post about these plants being under attack, that is a 10 out of 10 crisis as far as I'm concerned. And it is so frustrating to me that people in both parties have gotten to a point where we're more interested in screaming at each other than keeping the American people safe. And this has to be addressed. There are no other options.
If you think about it, if a guy with a 6-shooter walks into a savings and loan office with his gun and holds up a bank robbery, that's a huge deal, right? That's a federal offense. The FBI gets involved. And you're telling me that an entire company has been shut down. What if somebody got in there with guns and shut it down? I mean, this is a very frightening thought that you can remotely shut down a company the size of Merck without even having to come to this country, let alone show up in their parking lot.
This is the other side of that. The other side of that beautiful distributed network that we built of all the other networks called the internet. It's like the other edge of the sword is starting to be felt, whether it's propaganda, disinfo, or cyber attacks. There's something finally worth attacking. You know, multi-billion-dollar companies depend on this connectivity in a way they didn't back when it was like a DARPA project.
Right. Here's a picture from DLA Piper, which is a big multinational law firm in Washington, D.C. Attention DLA employees, this is on a whiteboard as you walk in the door. All network services are down. Do not, turn on your computers. Please remove all laptops from docking stations and keep turned off, no exceptions. You can imagine the IT department in these companies facing petya which is what brought down Merck and apparently brought down DLA Piper, and just watching it spread through their network.
And what I love is they used a whiteboard, with basically, technology that was essentially...
That's the only thing they can use, right? A whiteboard.
A whiteboard.
So
they can't even print it.
Screen, right? They didn't even have a laser printer.
This is like Mr. Robot playing out in real life.
Well, and that's really what scares me. Now, it's believed that Petya, at least the experts and security experts who I've read about, say that Petya is probably Russian. But WannaCry, the same experts believe, came out of North Korea. Right. 2 states alone with significant hacking capabilities, not much love for the United States, great interest in disrupting the U.S., are attacking us right now, actively attacking us, and have been for months. And we have no coherent plan. Right. We have Rudolph Giuliani.
It's the same. I mean, it's funny. It's not funny at all, actually. But the level of disruption that a lot of us celebrated, that shook the core of the music industry or the media industry writ large, is also, affecting finance, is affecting security. And it's just, I don't know, for Brianna being on especially, I'm just thinking more about politics than even I normally do. But it resorts the list. This is a way, if you are North Korea, you're a laughingstock. And now that you get respect. You're Russia. Your economy is 1/20th or something the size it used to be.
The size of Italy.
You're not great. You have a lot of people. You have a huge landmass. But the way that you force yourself back to a seat at the table is through this. This is like this is a power up in a video game. You've unlocked this great. You've leveled up.
I'm going to propose
something. And it's the new nuke is a cyber weapon.
This is so we saw it in the 80s and 90s and 2000s that short-term thinking for privately held companies and publicly held companies became the mode. You want to have great quarterly results, and as a result, you do no planning for the future. And this mindset, I would propose, has also entered, alas, government. That every person in Congress is concerned about the primary and getting through the primary, and then ultimately getting through the election, and not so what's going to happen in the next year and a half, not what's going to happen in the next 5 years or 10 years, or the long-term stability of the country. And I think that this, just in the same way this killed the financial markets, and it really became a problem in the economy, is about to become a massive problem in government.
And it's a huge problem with the healthcare industry, right? You've got this whole industry that has no idea what their future is because one party has one plan, another party wants to completely repeal that plan. And even if the Republicans are successful in doing that, eventually the Democrats are going to come back in and reinstate some kind of other plan. And how do you run an industry without any level of long-term planning, knowing that every 4 years it's going to flip around?
So here's sorry, go ahead, Brianna.
No. I was going to say, I think that's the beauty of the plan I was talking about earlier of making it creating legal consequences if these safeguards aren't in place, because clearly, because of the financial motive, you're not going to spend that money. Talk to engineers. Engineers will tell you they ask to improve security at their offices, and their bosses don't want to spend the money. We have to create an environment where it's worth that in the private industry for them to keep that safe. And I want America to lead the world in information security. But go over to the military side. I was talking to a military engineer just last week. There's a 6-mile set of power cables here in the United States. If that were taken down, power to a good part of the United States would just vanish. And that could be taken down with the cyber attack.
It happened a few years ago. The East Coast grid got taken down.
Well, and more concerning,
absolutely.
It looks like the Russians have been testing technologies to do this in the Ukraine.
To do this. And also targeting socially the engineers, the safety engineers that control the systems, like going after them socially to try to blackmail them, which is another kind of cyber warfare. Right. So we have to create incentives for private industry to do the right thing. But on the government side, what really concerns me is the more I ask questions about how is this code reviewed for X or Y system, there's not a great answer there. So we've got to mandate, if you're not going to use open source technology, that you do undergo code review so we can make sure these systems are working. Because the answer is right now, we just don't know, which is why we're wildly vulnerable.
Did we have a CTO? Did Megan Smith get replaced?
No one knows what's going on with this.
I'm pretty sure Jared Kushner is taking all the positions
de
at this
facto
point.
CTO. But I mean,
he's super intelligent.
But Megan actually knew something about technology.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to remember. I think it was Xi Jinping, the General Secretary of the Communist Party in China, in other words, the guy in charge in China, who said specifically, one of the reasons we're succeeding is because we have a long-term plan, and the U.S. is failing is because they've been not planning for the future. They've been planning for short-term goals, and that is no way to run a country. You can maybe get away with it running a company that way, but I don't know if you can run a country that way.
I don't even think you can run a company that way, really.
Not for long. That's kind of in the definition of short term, is that it doesn't work for the long term.
Yeah, I'm going to try to find this quote.
Well, the thing is that people's lives are at stake. I mean, when you think about, again, not to overdo the insurance thing, but if you're planning your life, you want some assurances that this insurance policy that you're paying for is going to be there for you 2 years, 3 years, 4 years down the road, and that Medicare is going to be there for you if you're planning on having Medicare. And I don't know how anybody in America has any kind of long-term sense of assurity, given the fact that we have no idea what's going to be happening year to year.
Yeah. It's something we've built in, unfortunately, we built into our economic system and with quarterly reports and stock market results, and now we apparently have built that into our government system with the way the elections work and funding works, and now I'm very worried that this is.
Well, we got to get more optimistic, guys. I'm feeling really bummed out.
It's your fault.
Here's what I'm going to do. Here's what I'm going to do.
What are you going to do?
I'm going to remind us that our form of government in this nation, at least, is distributed. That we have 50 states, we have 50 laboratories.
Right on.
That you can say broad things about the health insurance market, but it's different in every state. California's outcomes are very different from Texas, and when it comes to cybersecurity. It's not the government's never going to do it all anyway, especially because the internet's not a government tool. It's not like the interstate highway system, which is kind of managed by a government. We have personal responsibility. The companies and the platforms have major responsibility. Brianna's going to get in there. We're going to clone her. We'll have an AI. We'll have AI Congress powered by Brianna Wu. Like she's going to seed, the initial kind of kernel for the new artificial intelligence Congress to get the good laws. But in the meantime, like Massachusetts will be a little better. And we'll do it. We have to do it because we don't have another choice, and we can't just be like sad and depressed about it.
Well, it's also the argument
to make this progress.
And it's why people should be running for school board and city council and dog catcher or whatever other positions are available in their community, and not just worrying about the president or even Congress. I mean,
there will be, whether the government does quote unquote the right thing or not, there will eventually be a catastrophic loss on the financial front by a company. And then all these prices will get paid. And it'll be on the backs of all these incremental failures, loss of credit card data, loss of social security card, you didn't hash your passwords, we lost this database. And then some major thing's going to happen in the form of death, most likely, or serious property damage or something. And folks are going to be like, oh, we could have, when it comes out that you could have done something that you didn't do, and there was this marginal cost that you wouldn't expend, that will be the market incentive, sadly, that will get
private industry. This is supposed to be optimistic? I thought you were going to be...
Well, it's going to take a catastrophe, but we'll get through this.
That's a lot.
I don't want to blow smoke.
I have a feeling what we're hearing is the beginning of Baratunde's his launch for his exclusive column in Medium. It's called Active Citizenship. When is that going to start?
It started. June was my first month. I started with a doubleheader piece about why everyone should go to jail, preferably as a visitor, not as a sort of enrollee or a detainee. And this was specific to Rikers Island Jail in New York City, but there's general takeaways to be applied to any prison or jail anywhere in the world, things being done in our name, kind of in shadows that we silently co-sign on. But I did a huge data detox a few months back, and I've been sitting on that and kind of the things I learned, trying to have better data hygiene and privacy hygiene. Super difficult, super challenging, like asking individual users to just be better. It's kind of like saying just say no, like it's not the most effective thing for most people. So yeah, I'll be writing about citizenship in all its forms, some digital, some IRL, and some hybrid in between. But it's kicked off. I'll be running it at least through the end of the year.
and it is part of something pretty cool, which is the new paid. Don't show my credit card number. Thank you. Too late. That's okay. I'll be canceling that credit card now. But I was just about to pay for the new paid version of Medium, which is pretty exciting. So you remember Evan Williams said we're going to reinvent Medium. We're not going to have ads on it anymore. We're going to have memberships, $5 a month, and I did just pay. And I encourage others to do so that you can see. So your stuff is available only as a member exclusive. I think that's correct. I think that's smart.
Cool. Wow.
Yeah,
I think that's smart.
It's a new model.
Smart, not of you. Smart of Ev Williams and Medium, because I'll tell you what, I will pay $5 a month just to read you.
Oh, thanks, Leo.
Absolutely.
But no, it's a worthy experiment on their part, and I'm glad that they're actually putting money and sort of decisions where their mouths have been. We've seen, the ad model dominates every form of media right now, and so it's good for them, I think, to at least try something else, because the incentives that online ads create in terms of clickbait and headline writing and fake news, all the stuff we've seen is pretty clear. So what would happen if you tried this radical notion of directly paying for access to information?
One of the things
not everything should go that way, but
one of the things I love about new media is how we're trying all sorts of different ways, figuring out new ways of making this work. Because media is important, journalism is important, voices, disparate, are important. Your voice is important, Baratunde. And so I think it is important we figure out ways to make this work. Now, if I can just figure out a way to cancel my credit card while I'm doing this show, I'll be fine.
Oh no.
That's all right. I don't care. Go ahead. Buy some shoes for yourself.
Can I say something about Medium before we move on?
Yes.
I think it's really important to recognize companies that do good things. And there are companies like Women in Tech Talk, like don't go work there, stay away from these people. Medium is consistently, I hear good things from that company, from people that work there. And I love it that they sponsor networking events for women during WWDC every single year. They didn't do it this year for some reason, but previous years has been some of the best networking I've done. And I just, everyone I've ever talked to at that company is awesome. So that is a company I would feel very comfortable about giving $5 a month to.
This is good. We need to do this more often. We talk enough about companies that are badly run and sexist and harassing. Let's honor companies that are well run, treat their employees well. That is great. I like that, Brianna. Again, you've broken new ground. I think that's a really good idea. If we find a company that internally is well run, that its employees are treated with dignity, that it hires a diverse workforce, let everybody know, and let's patronize those companies.
And Oscars for decency.
I like it. I like it. I'll tell you one company I think runs that way, think pretty well runs that way. By the way, it just pisses me off because I complain all the time about how when you enter passwords and credit card numbers, they just show the dots and you can never know if you've did it right. Medium must have listened, so they showed my credit card number in its entirety. Why did you use dots?
Don't live stream their web sessions.
The one time. One time. Why would you use dots? Who's looking when you're typing in your credit? No one's looking.
Right.
Everyone was looking. Our show is brought to you today by Casper Mattresses. My mattress, the best way. Yeah, right? Yeah. There's a company that has really done something to change the way you buy a mattress. Now, I know a lot of you think that you can't buy a mattress unless you lie on it. And I agree. I mean, I think ideally you would sleep on it, but you can't do that in the mattress showroom. You can lie there. They put a little thing down for your feet, a little piece of paper on the pillow, and then the salesperson stares at you while you go, and you try to get comfortable. It's not a good way to test a mattress. Casper has a better way. You buy direct from Casper. Their mattress, by the way, designed by a team of 20 engineers. They have 500,000 sleepers who have really perfected it. And here's the best part. You get 100 days to sleep on it. If at any time in the first 100 days you say, yeah, it's not for me, they will come, they will pick it up, they will get rid of it at no cost to you. They'll refund every penny. Casper has spent much money on designing a perfect mattress. People don't think about the science behind mattresses, But I guess in the middle of the night, about 4 o'clock, when you wake up and there's a lump pressing into you from the mattress spring or the sprung or whatever, the tufting, you might start thinking, they ought to spend more time thinking about a mattress. The Casper team is a bunch of engineering nerds. They have really dug as far as you can into the science of sleep and how to deliver it. Well, I'll give you an example, especially on these hot summer nights. A cool mattress is a comfortable mattress. You don't want a mattress that's hot. You want a mattress that breathes. The Casper mattress is the most comfortable mattress I've ever slept on, temperature alone. It's got a breathable open cell layer for all-night comfort. It's also got supportive memory foam that relieves pressure on your hips and other pointy bits, but still supports you so your back doesn't hurt in the morning. I don't know how they do it. It's magical. Fast Company named Casper the most innovative brand of 2017.
You know, if I had that mattress, I got a sleep score last night of 78.
You need a better sleep score.
No, I know.
You need a better sleep score.
So Philippe Kahn has created this app and this device you stick under any mattress, including the Casper, right? And it analyzes my sleep. And last night I only got a 78.
That's pathetic, Larry. Can I have a Casper sent to you? It comes in a very compact box.
I can put my sensor under there, and if my sleep score goes up to 90...
You'll know. You've got the metrics. Yeah. Free by the way, it's the kind of thing they did. They really did test it. Free shipping, free returns, not only in the U.S. and Canada, but they've just added the U.K. So I know we have many listeners in Great Britain, in the U.K. who would say, I want a Casper, but it's annoying you do these ads. I can't buy one. Now you can buy one. Considering we spend a third of our lives on a mattress, you got to get a better night's sleep.
7 hours and 41 minutes, my kid.
Get a better sleep score right now with Casper.
And that
I have the Casper bed for my dog Rocket, so I want to
They do. They have dog beds.
Under there
I know.
and see, they do. I want to see what my dog's sleep
see what
score
Rocket's
is.
sleep score is.
Yeah.
Actually, dogs and cats have a very high sleep score. I want to tell you.
My dog is
That's all they do. That's their profession.
It's pretty much their job.
I have a Casper mattress as well.
Do you?
And to segue us into another story in the lineup.
Hold on, let me finish the ad. Then,
you're not done. I'm
not done. I just got to give out the address, casper.com/twit. And a reminder that if you use the promo code TWIT, you get $50 towards any mattress purchase. Casper. I know it felt like I'd done the ad, but I wasn't quite done. Casper.com/twit. Use the promo code TWIT. Some terms and conditions apply. You can read about it. Look at that. What is the... I love the numbers on the front page. Go to casper.com/twit. They're counting up dreams, nights, sheep counted. Go ahead, Bertoni. What's the segue?
This try before you buy model of e-commerce that Amazon is also pushing more aggressively to with their Amazon wardrobe.
Did you see that? I thought that was
all these
very
other companies that are sort of, they don't even charge you until you return. So the basic idea being you get, whether it's for children's clothes or men's fashion or women's fashion, you get a box of clothes and you can try on a bunch of them and send them back, and then you get charged based on what you keep, rather than the sort of assumption that you probably won't return, so you're overpaying for things you don't actually use.
So there are other companies that do this, but Amazon's doing something interesting. The more you buy, the less you pay.
Yeah, you get a discount. Yeah.
So that's smart. Plus, they're Amazon. Now, I have to tell you, this jacket that I'm wearing, I got in a box. I got it from Bombfell, which is one of the companies. They were a sponsor, one of the companies that does this. I love this jacket, and I love that method, because I don't want to go shop. I hate to shop for clothing. I don't mind shopping for computers, memory chips. I'll shop at any hardware store in the country as long as you want. But they have, I was shopping with my wife the other day, in stores where women buy clothes, they have a chair. They have the husband chair. Am I wrong?
They do?
Yeah. And there's actually an Instagram account that features men sleeping in those chairs.
What's their sleep score?
It's the best. It's at malls, looking bored, looking depressed, looking tired. So, do yourself a favor.
I don't understand why you would bring your husband along on that trip. I would never do that. I would never do that.
I never buy clothes in a store, because part of it is I have an odd inseam. Like it's 29, and it's impossible to find 29. There's only even numbers in stores.
Yeah.
Plus, when I go to Costco, they only have extra large, because they sell food in extra large containers, so they have clothes in extra large as well. And so it's so much easier to buy it online. I mean,
here's it's Instagram, it's miserable men, miserable_men. And it's just pictures of guys like waiting for their wives. Just this is how common this is. You can do a whole Instagram feed of men waiting for their gals.
Oh God.
I'm so tired. I'm so bored.
Oh no.
The worst thing is the women are getting these great clothes and these men look horrible.
Well, that's just
it's like, yeah, what's stopping you from living a better life?
By the way, look at this guy. Not only is he relaxing, his belt is unbuckled, and I think his fly is down.
I don't think we can blame that on his wife shopping.
That might be another matter entirely. So to get back to your point, Baratone, I think Amazon is about to eat the world in commerce, don't you think?
They would love for every dollar you spend to pass through them, it seems.
That's what Ben Thompson said on Stratechery, that ostensibly Amazon's mission statement is to be the most customer-centric company in the world. Ben said no. Their mission statement is to get a piece of every economic transaction that occurs.
Yeah.
And they're well on their way. They make it easy. I just got by the way, I am now convinced the best gadget of the year, the Echo Show.
Oh, I haven't gotten that yet.
Is that the camera?
No, that's not. That's the look. That's the one that ties into this Amazon Prime wardrobe where it takes a picture of your clothes. And by the way, that's brilliant marketing.
Yeah.
What's the Echo Show?
The Echo Show is the one with the screen.
Oh, right.
It's a screen, camera, microphone. It's a regular Echo.
A tablet, basically.
But adding the screen, you can make video calls. My mom and I've been dropping in on my mom, and that's really fun. You never know what you're going to see. and then, no, she loves it. In fact, I woke her up from her nap the other day. I said, Mom, because you say drop in on Mom's show or whatever you've named it, and then it makes a little bleep on her show, and then you can talk to her. Mom?
So but she doesn't get a chance to accept the call. So
no, well, you don't have to. Yes, you can turn that feature off. Yeah. She's decided to let me do that.
That's scary. Yeah.
But you don't have to have that turned on.
One of my friends, so I had an Echo in my home. My girlfriend didn't like to visit when that thing was around.
That's a reason to get rid of it.
For some reason, didn't like the idea of a constantly listening microphone just on the table under the TV. So it's at an office that I use. And a friend of mine called me just in the middle of the day, and the Echo was like, "You got a call." And so then I rang him. It's this very strange. We've gotten so used to managing our communications, right? We want to, if someone calls, like there must be an emergency or someone died or there's been an attack, you text and you set these things up. So to just have a device that's not even a phone ring, and there's another person and they're in their living room and you're in your like conference room or living room. It's this, I don't know, it's kind of beautiful, kind of weird. I haven't decided how much am I creeped out by it, or am I kind of thrilled by the sort of spontaneity of just like, hey, let's ring up Zane in his living room. And he's like his kids are running around, his parents-in-law are popping over, and he's like, now is not a good time. I'm like, you answered your Echo, dude. So I don't know. Does the look have the same interruption, but just with pictures?
The show has the same. It's even worse because he doesn't have to pick up. It just starts. He gets to say who he can let have that happen. But because it's an intercom.
So it's for anywhere in the world.
For any other Echo in the world. I can't wait. Drop in on Baratunde.
That's
Baratunde, this is your conscience speaking.
I could see that being a lot of. It's like the new party line. You could link up can you do more than, is it just one-to-one, or can you build like a bridge and have four?
Oh, no, yeah, that would be fun. No, as far as
could you do house parties? Could you do
wouldn't that be
listening
cool?
parties or like virtual family reunions?
Yeah, wouldn't that be cool? That's a great idea.
My kids would kill me if I gave them one of these.
My son did.
Kids.
Okay,
they would absolutely go insane.
So Michael so because of this, I put I replaced a black cylinder with this new Echo Show. So I put the black cylinder in Michael's room,
right? And
now I can say to my Echo, drop in on Michael, and then I say, Michael, wake up.
Oh,
did that once. It's now muted.
That's right.
I have to ask, though. I mean, the looks of it, though, it looks like something that was designed on a PlayStation 1. Like, it's that polygonal and blocky. I mean,
I know.
I like
a lot of people think it's ugly. I love it. It fits right on my desk. I can do things like show my front door, show my backyard, because it's got a screen now. Video calls. $230 is one of the negatives. Get the white one. Then it doesn't look. I don't know. Here it comes. We're bringing it in. It's unplugged, so it won't do anything.
Well, you got it.
It's kind of ugly. I don't know.
Looks like a router.
So to see your backyard, you have to have a camera in your backyard.
My mom wasn't sure about that. She said, "Oh, can I see my backyard with this?" I said, "Do you have a camera in your backyard?" She said, "No." I said, "Well, no, you need a camera."
Does it have to be an Amazon camera, or does it?
No, it can be any. So it works with Nest. It works with Ring. I can see the Ring video doorbell at my front door. I can see Nest cameras in the house. Actually, that was another thing. My wife did veto the Nest. I had a Nest IQ cameras all over the house, and she said no more no cameras in the house. So it's behind me. It's right over here. Do we put? Oh no, up there. We put it back.
I'm going to mess with my dog right now. I can go call my dog.
Yeah, so you can do it on your phone, right? Yep. Well, now you have this device. Yep. I just think it's like this is going to replace the desk phone in offices all over the country. And so I don't think that's.
But
do you
right
think,
now,
Brianna? Do you think that's
Amazon,
horrible that you wouldn't want that on your desk?
It's just
I think it looks a lot better in white. It looks a lot better.
Yeah, don't get the black
one. I
one.
would consider that.
You can't call a landline or a cell phone. You have to call another Echo.
No, although I have to think they're working on that because Google's Home is going to do that.
Google's
and it's just IP. Everything's IP now anyway, so it shouldn't matter.
Our friend Mike Elgin, who'll be on the show next week, wrote a really good article in which he said, just in the same way that the cable companies are going from being television companies to internet companies, that's going to happen to the phone companies too. It's all about data. Why do you need a phone company? It's just data.
You need a data company. Yeah.
So phone companies, just like cable companies, had to face this reality that we're now going to become an internet service provider. That's our new business.
Well, AT&T. That's what they are.
AT&T, Verizon, Sprint, and T-Mobile, that's ultimately all they'll be is data companies. I'm sure they're thinking that with 5G and so forth.
Remember when you used to have to pay for phone calls on your cell phone? You paid by the minute. They give away phones. They give away text. They charge for data.
Right. It's all about the data.
It's all about the data. Yeah.
And as you point out, Bertone, there's how is this or a Google Home? How is it different from a phone? It's not. It's just it's all data.
Yeah, it's a connected IP device. You can do anything you want on that connection.
And better, frankly.
Right. Except, I don't know, the caviar phone still wins out in my book.
There's a good reason to have a phone.
Caviar phone.
I really Soviet Union phone calls you. Yeah. Echo calls you.
If only you could actually hear what the two of them said to each other on that phone, right? If you could actually get a readout
I wonder
of
how
that
you could do that.
I don't know.
Amazon Prime is on pace to become more popular than cable TV. What a surprise.
Wow. Yeah. Their video is getting better and better. I actually am finding myself watching Prime Video more than I used to.
Here's the graph. This is from Recode. This is the top bar pay TV households, which was flat until 2014, and then oddly started to plummet as people started to cut the cord. Here is Amazon Prime households. Now, this is an estimate because Amazon doesn't give the number. But it's just a matter of maybe a year before those two lines cross, isn't it?
Think about the dollars behind each of those curves. So the cable household is paying, I don't know, an average of $120 a month or something, maybe for cable. And the opportunity to extract more money from them is limited by just what that cable company offers. Maybe an occasional pay-per-view fight. Maybe you get someone to upgrade their package. Maybe you add phone service or internet service, but there are these step functions. There's not a lot of micro purchasing or incremental kind of revenue being added. Whereas Amazon Prime, which is $100 a year, and then the purpose of Prime is to get you to spend more dollars. Like that, the more you spend, the more you get out of that. So like the return on that 100 is way higher to Amazon than the return on the 100 that goes to a Comcast or a Charter or whoever. And they're already winning. And if you just think about how much money they're sucking out of the houses that are Prime members versus how much money a cable company is sucking out of houses who are subscribers to the MSO.
Well, and this ties back to the Echo because the Echo really is just a device for ordering stuff on Amazon Prime. Really,
these are Trojan horses. Prime is a Trojan horse to take your money.
And interesting because Jeff Bezos has trained millions of people to say the word Alexa hundreds of times or dozens of times a day.
Right.
That is a brand.
Thank you for not saying the word.
No, I won't say
every
Echo.
I
say Echo all the time because I don't want to say the A word.
Yeah, the A word.
But think about that. That is a powerful brand name he's created just by repetition. I imagine they'll use that in some interesting way. This guy, it's hard to imagine. I mean, this guy is, another Tony Stark.
Yeah, and just to be clear with my with the Prime numbers, and I want to. So you pay $99 for Prime. You get like expedited shipping on other stuff you buy from Amazon. You also get their video service
and music.
You get music.
You get books.
Maybe storage now. I think it's thrown in actually for Prime users.
Photo storage, unlimited photo storage.
And you get discounts on all kinds of other stuff in Amazon. So it's not like a video versus video service. It's like, how do I take your money versus how do I take your money?
Well, what you do is you get in the habit of using Amazon for every purchase and not even shopping around.
Right, and which makes them the one company, the one retailer to rule them all.
I did an analysis. So 1 year I had to pay sales tax. Back before Amazon charged California sales tax, I had to actually estimate how much I had spent on Amazon. So I went online, I looked for a year's worth of orders, and I was shocked at how much money I had spent that year. And there's no merchant in the world except maybe the Toyota dealer that I bought my car from. And then it's only every few years, right, that I've spent anywhere near that amount of money, from a merchant. It's incredible.
Get ready. You want some more numbers? Here's some more numbers.
Though,
go ahead, Brianna. Yeah.
No, I was just going to say, don't you think, though, Amazon, I have cut the cord on everything. I don't own a phone, like a traditional phone. Don't you think Amazon, as far as their video service, is the worst out there of any of them? Because
Worst how?
I mean, I love
Quality
Showtime. I think that's really worth the money. Yeah, go ahead.
Quality or content? Worst how?
Yeah, the quality of the original content on it. Like they had an exclusive deal to get 24 on there, and I really like that. But it's like, if I weren't already subscribing to it because of free shipping and stuff like that, I would never do it because I don't think the original content is there.
I think Netflix is the winner in original content, but I have to say there are some really good shows. I mean, Transparent.
Transparent's probably their break in my own video usage. Transparent is kind of why I get excited about Amazon. I feel like they also had The Man in the High Castle.
Yeah, that was okay.
Yeah, that's solid.
And then I use them they let you add on stars, and I'm in love with the show called Power, and I go to them for that. And then occasionally I'll just see what they have that comes with Prime, so I don't have to pay for it on another.
But you're right.
network.
A lot of the TV shows are not quite up to the Netflix or HBO standard. Lisa's been watching I Love Dick.
Yeah, I've been watching that.
I don't know. Is that? I don't know. I'm not sure I'm not sure that's for me. But you know what? The other thing Amazon's doing is movies. And remember, Manchester by the Sea. They put up the money for that. I think they've got a couple of new movies. That's kind of interesting. I don't know.
I actually think that Amazon has got some pretty decent programming. I mean, not everything, but I think they've got some good. I loved Alpha House when it was on the air. That was the one.
That was great.
That was
John Goodman is the congressman.
Brianna, you have to watch that before you go to Washington.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, are you going to share a house with John Goodman when you move up there, Brianna?
Everybody does.
I would totally do that. That'd be great. That'd be great. Oh my God.
Apparently, I didn't know this, but I learned that from the show that a lot of members of Congress don't want to buy houses in Washington or can't afford to rent them.
Yeah, Chuck Schumer.
So they all live together. Yeah. And there was a liberal house. There was a Democrat
Chuck Schumer
house.
had the house. He lived in a house with
but
a bunch of guys.
The funny thing about the show is it's a Republican house, right?
Right, in the show, the Republican House,
They're all conservatives.
Yeah.
That sounds like a great reality show.
No, it's very funny.
It does. They could.
You can watch Michael Moore's Where to Invade Next on Amazon Prime.
There's a lot of free movies and stuff. You're right.
It's
not
nowhere
Netflix.
near Netflix.
But it doesn't have to be. That's a small portion of what Amazon Prime is about. I mean, really, mostly it's about 2-day free shipping. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Anyway, I was going to give you some numbers at Amazon Prime. So, as you might predict, Amazon Prime doesn't do all that well in lower income people. It's the lowest among households that make less than $41,000 a year. Ooh. But in households that make more than $112,000 a year, presumably very valuable households to Amazon, 82% are Amazon Prime members.
Right? That's incredible.
82%.
Wow.
It's how you know you have money.
Yeah. Well, you don't have Prime, obviously.
You just give Amazon that. Yeah.
But what that shows you, if you're thinking about it, Amazon's business, and I know Jeff Bezos doesn't spend a waking moment not thinking about the business, is all the growth is going to happen at the other end. And isn't Amazon now in a war versus Walmart?
Walmart, yeah. They bought Jet, didn't they? Walmart. Did Walmart buy Jet?
Yeah, Walmart bought Jet.
Yeah.
Somebody had to.
Yeah.
Amazon bought Whole Foods. That'll tell you something.
Really,
right?
exactly.
So this article is presuming that at some point Amazon's going to reach out in some way because there's no growth. There's very little growth possible in the upper income.
Well, there will be after they get their tax cuts. They'll have more money to spend.
A lot more of us in the 1% soon. Anyway, I thought that it's clearly a success. Amazon is on a tear.
Are they going to lower the prices at Whole Foods? That would be great.
Look at that. There you go. NPR. Amazon lowers Prime membership rate for low-income customers.
Right. I think
so they're already doing it.
How do you prove your low income? What do they...
So I have to give Amazon my tax returns every year.
Really?
I don't know. Prime Day. Are you all excited?
If
Prime
you
Day
actually are receiving government assistance.
Prime Day starts tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Pacific. Yeah. I have never participated in Prime Day. This is the third one, but this is again brilliant marketing.
Is this like their own Black Friday?
Yeah.
In the middle of July.
Yeah.
And be careful, by the way. There are a lot of deals that are not great on Prime Day. I actually looked last year, and I shop critically when you're doing it, if you do it.
You know who does a really good roundup is Jackie over at Wirecutter, which was just acquired by the Times. They always kind of suss out and find out the ones that are good. So that's where I go by.
Here you go. Amazon Prime Day 2017, what to expect and how to find the best deals. Adam Barakowski writing this one for The Wirecutter.
I literally spent time on that site. This is one of my favorite sites on the internet. And they have a home section now. And I think I just read everything. I skimmed over. I'm like, oh, maybe I need emergency solar powered flashlights with AM/FM radios. There's choices, and they write so well about it that it made me respect. I'm like, I should probably consider one of those things. So the Wirecutter is my new kind of internet addiction.
I learned a lesson about discount shopping. I've never actually gone to the Goodwill in Palo Alto. I go there all the time to donate, but this time I actually went shopping there, and it turned out that there were several items I looked at, and I went online to check them. New versions of them were cheaper on Amazon than the used ones were at Goodwill.
Yeah.
So it tells you have to be a critical shopper.
Here's the tally from Wirecutter from last year's Prime Day. Of 7,950 deals, only 64 were good deals.
See? That's
so your instinct, Larry.
So basically, it's a big lie.
It's a lie.
Percentage-wise speaking, it rounds up to 100% BS. Prime Day is 100%
It's like shopping at Costco. You assume everything is cheap, but it isn't. You have to look.
Right. Yeah.
Well, that's what our economy is built on, folks. Okay, great. That's
lies, and more lies. All right, let's take a break. Baratunde Thurston is here. It's always great to have you. Look for his new regular column on Medium. You could just use my credit card number to sign up. And that way...
Thank you for the subsidy.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah, the first 100 people use my credit card number, you're in, and the rest of you, well, you snooze, you lose. That's Brianna Wu. You know what? I should give you a little contribution too. Let's just pretend this is one of your phone days, and we should. Can I contribute at BriannaWu2018.com? Because I sure like to.
You can go to supportbrianna.com and it's all right there. And yeah, I super appreciate it. The thing is, it's not enough to tweet about this. It's not enough to Facebook about it. We've got to take action. So, pick one of three things, either run for office, either donate time to somebody that's doing things you like, or donate money to somebody that's doing things you like. We can't just talk about this. Yeah. We've got to take action.
And you do not have to be a resident of the Massachusetts 8th District to donate to the campaign, but alas, you do have to vote for Brianna. When is the primary?
It's next year. They haven't had it set yet because the guy I'm running against doesn't usually have challengers. He's just automatically voted in. So
what? We need to have a primary? What?
Right,
he's got the auto update feature on.
Auto elect.
Exactly.
Are millions of people coming down from Canada to vote for you? Is that going to happen?
I don't think I can't endorse
that. Not allowed.
Not lucky.
Yeah.
No, Brianna's not encouraging that.
No, I know.
But you may donate.
Nope. I would appreciate that. I promise you, I will have the EFF on speed dial. I will really turn a lot of these policies around. And just something I have to tell people, this isn't like a boil the ocean solution. there are only 8 people to control the votes in the Science and Technology Subcommittee.
Wow.
Getting 8 people that know what they're talking about is not an insurmountable goal. So, if your congressperson sucks, consider running for office yourself and serve on that committee with me. It'll be great. We'll have a good time.
And
we can room together.
I see that this donation page has something called Fast Action. This is this something that makes it easy for you to participate and donate to other members of Congress, or?
I would assume so. It's
you don't
probably
know.
linked with other lists. Yeah, I've never donated to myself through that. So
that would be dumb.
Maybe you should.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe I should.
Okay.
You got to walk yourself through the user path,
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
Just $1. That's all it takes. Also, Larry Magid is here, and Larry is, of course, at his own website, Larry Magid.
Well, larrysworld.com.
larrysworld.com.
And connectsafely.org as well.
And then connectsafely and .org and safekids.com. Well, you got something coming up. Why don't you, here's your chance to plug that.
Oh, well, it's not really coming. You mean
you said you wanted to mention something. Is it
so we've all heard about Donald Trump's cyberbullying. Everybody here has heard about. I'm looking at it's connectsafely.org.
If you're Meech, yes,
yeah.
it is.
And and the fact is, I think that whatever you think of Donald Trump, and I bet you there are people in our audience who like him and support his policies, and that's a legitimate thing to be. But that doesn't mean you have to support his behavior. And so the point of this article and podcast is to examine what happens if you are a Trump supporter, you admire his policies, but you do not admire the way in which he treats women, the way in which he demeaned his opponents during the campaign. How do you talk to your children? How do you explain that the most powerful person in the world who our family may have voted for is acting badly, and we don't want you to act that way? So I sort of explored that with some of the leading experts on cyberbullying in the world, people like Patty Agatston, who's the head of the International Bullying Prevention Association, and Justin Patchen, who runs the Cyberbullying Research Center, and Rosalind Wiseman, who wrote the book that was the basis for the movie Mean Girls, and really exploring how you talk to your children. And it's kind of a fascinating set of advice that shows up in both the column and in the podcast, that you can separate out his behavior from his policies. And I mean, I know a lot of people don't agree with his policies, and that's fine too. And I also make the point that liberals have to be careful not to fall into the same trap. So I was aghast that many of my Facebook friends made fun of Chris Christie last week for being on the beach. And they were absolutely right to criticize the fact that he was on a public beach that was closed to the rest of the state. But then they started with fat shaming and fat jokes. And I think that is very annoying. You can criticize Christie, you can criticize Trump, you can criticize anybody, but stick to the issues and not start demeaning them as human beings and their physical characteristics. So that's kind of some of the things that, I think we need a more civil society, regardless of the political realm, which probably needs to be shaken up as well. But I say, Brianna, when you get to Congress, treat everybody nicely, even your opponents.
There were some.
I try to. See, one of the beautiful things about running is I talk to Trump supporters every single day when I do campaign events, and it's really, you see them as people, right? You hear about why they voted that way, and I don't agree with it, but there's a real economic desperation there that I understand. So I think you're dead on, and it makes me really uncomfortable when I'm a feminist, when feminists start attacking men for their physical characteristics. I'm deeply uncomfortable with that. So I completely agree with everything you said.
There are some fine Chris Christie memes out there that don't entirely involve fat shaming. I mean, they're just
there's plenty to criticize without getting into that.
That's one.
So a couple of quick notes. Brianna, I just gave you some money. Please spend it wisely.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
And Larry, you have experts on cyberbullying on. When can we expect Melania Trump to join you?
I sent her a letter. So I wrote a column.
That is her.
Yeah, I wrote her a column right after the inauguration saying help, and I gave her some advice. And then I mailed her a copy of Connect Safely's Parent's Guide to Cyberbullying. Good. We don't have a spouse's guide to cyberbullying, but we have a parent's guide. Geez. And she's a parent. And, she never got back to me, not even a form letter.
She's busy.
So she just hasn't responded. But
she's probably very busy, implementing her own policies.
Anytime she needs some advice, I'm happy to give it to her.
Great.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Let's take a break. Our show today brought to you by those good folks at Rocket Mortgage. Rocket Mortgage was created by Quicken Loans, one of the foremost high-tech companies in America, and one of the biggest mortgage lenders, they realized that the mortgage loan process wasn't exactly keeping up with the times. It was dated. It wasn't exactly client-focused. So the technological revolution has come to getting your next home loan or your next refi, and it's thanks to Quicken Loans and something they call Rocket Mortgage. Rocket Mortgage is an entirely online mortgage approval process. You don't need to go into a bank. You don't need to gather documents from the basement or the attic. You don't need, all of this can be done on your phone, on your tablet, on your computer, giving you all the information you need about your loan, all the details, so you can get confident that you're getting the right mortgage for you, and you could choose your term, choose your rate. And it makes it really easy because they have all these trusted partners, which makes it possible to share your financial information without, getting up and going through the paperwork. You can do it all with the touch of a button. So whether you're buying your first home or your 10th, whether you're refining your existing home, Rocket Mortgage can do it for you. And because it's all online, they do it for you fast. Last mortgage took a couple of months for me when we bought our house almost 4 years ago. In fact, we went on vacation. We applied for the loan. We thought, well, we can't possibly still be doing this in a month. We almost lost the house because the seller said, "What's going on?" And they said, and we were faxing stuff from vacation. Not this way. Wow. You'll get your loan not in months, not in days, not in minutes, not in weeks, but in minutes right away. Based on your income, assets, and credits, they're going to analyze all the options like that and get the right loan for you. Rocket Mortgage from Quicken Loans. Apply simply, understand fully, mortgage confidently. Please go to rocketmortgage.com/twit2. That's rocketmortgage.com, twit, and the number 2. That way they'll know you heard it here. Equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states, NMLSconsumeraccess.org, number 3030. And we thank Rocket Mortgage and Quicken Loans for supporting This Week in Tech. I love this panel. I think you guys should just move in, and we'll just stay here for the whole next 5 years or whatever.
Wow.
No, because Brianna, you probably, we won't be able to have you on. Well, man, I think we could have you on when you're a member of Congress. Why not?
Yeah. There's no law against it.
Yeah.
So,
CNN,
have you ever had an
MSNBC
elected official on Twit, Leo?
Yeah, we have from time to time. There was a guy running for lieutenant governor of California, didn't realize Twit was just this podcast thing, who stopped by. And from time to time we get people confused about, whether they can use this to garner votes. But I have to say, I think it's important to get politicians on talking to audiences that are interested in technology.
Absolutely.
Just unleash the chat room on them. That'll be a great education.
Do that to
the funny thing, so I've been a tech writer. I've been a tech writer, as you know, Leo, for more than 30 years. And when I first started, I remember telling somebody, I've got good news and bad news. I said, what's the good news? The good news, I just got a column in the LA Times back when newspapers, really mattered, and they matter again.
Yeah.
Hey, what's the bad news? I said, I got to write about computers. And it has become so much fun the last few years now that technology and policy are so connected that we're no longer just talking about gadgets. We're talking about things that really, not that gadgets don't matter, but we're talking about things that really matter to people. And that's why I think, Brianna, your candidacy is so important. The fact that there really is a nexus between technology and how our lives are going to go forward. And it's a time for government to pay attention to it. And it's just so, I don't know, it's amazing to me how much time we spent today talking about policy.
That's great. I'm glad we did.
And how much time I wind up writing about it.
Yeah, no, it's great. I just want to say I can 100% endorse any politician coming on this show. I've had, actually, your listeners have reached out to me about various levels of policy, and I've been able to show them legislation we're thinking about, and they've given input on it because of their expertise in cybersecurity or different areas, and it's gotten to be better because of that. I mean, you have a amazing audience. So it's, for me as a politician, it's well worth my time to come here.
That's encouraging to me, because I think there was for a while in amongst tech fans, it was kind of fashionable to say, oh, government doesn't work, forget it, they'll never understand, they're just dummies, I'm not going to vote, I'm not going to participate because it's meaningless. And it makes me sad because I tell you what, if you don't, then you don't get to complain.
Yeah.
So I'm really glad to hear that people who watch this show are contacting you and are getting involved.
Although I
think
get
we all
hate
have
mail
to.
from some readers and listeners who get angry at me when I get into political subjects.
You get that too, and I don't. That's fine. I understand that. I think sometimes talking about these hot button topics, you're going to get that, and I think that shouldn't deter us from talking about them. Nope. Not to the exclusion of the Samsung Note 7 returning, or the Bixby button. Anybody want to talk about a gadget? Any gadget? I'll take any. Actually, as long as we're talking, we should talk about July 12th, which is a day of protest.
Yep.
A day that shall live in infamy.
Yeah. We've done this before, right, Bear Tuna? You've been involved in previous boycotts and internet activism.
Put this black badge on your site. It's the black armband for internet thing. This is about net neutrality, and we have a new FCC commissioner, Ajit Pai, who is against some of the rules established back in 2015 that would make sure that the internet remained a relatively fair place as far as treating a bit like a bit like a bit. So the FCC doesn't have to listen to anybody. They have the votes to go which way the commissioner wants. But a strong public showing by people, and many companies have signed on, including Google and Facebook, to say we would prefer a fair internet to one that can be totally bought and sold to the extent that you have preferential treatment, priority access, and create this at minimum two-tiered internet of like the fast lane and then the crap lane. So,
So, can we go to this well too often? Because remember, we did this a couple of years ago for SOPA. There was Internet Freedom Day. It seems like we've done this a few times. It's been successful. In fact, the whole issue of net neutrality probably wouldn't even exist if the previous chairman of the FCC, Tom Wheeler, hadn't been slammed by millions of comments telling him he should use Title II and assert the right of the FCC to enforce net neutrality. That's what's at stake today. There's a reversal of that existing FCC policy to support net neutrality. And the comments begin once again. Now, there was the history of this is a little checkered. Remember, they opened for comments, and then it was slammed by people commenting, and then they said, oh, this is a DDoS attack, and they shut the comments down, never offering, the FCC never offered any evidence that it was, in fact, a DDoS attack. The DDoS was a lot of people having an opinion about it.
Didn't John Oliver have something to do with this?
John Oliver created a website, something the FCC, screw the FCC, F the FCC, something like that. So I guess July 12th is the internet-wide day of action to save net neutrality. A lot of companies, even Netflix, which for a while said, oh, we don't need net neutrality anymore. We already won.
One thing that's interesting is I actually interviewed Evan Greer, who's kind of the spokesperson for this campaign, and she was saying that a lot of companies are not going to go dark. They're just going to encourage you to take some action.
Yeah, we
Remember,
on the
last time they went dark.
SOPA Day, we thought about going dark. Reddit went dark. A lot of sites went dark. We went black and white because
monochrome.
Monochrome, and I think that was my decision to do that was more because I felt we needed to cover the day,
right? And
we needed to talk about it on that day. But if you tuned in and you saw a black and white video, I think it would remind you that something was going on, right? I don't know what we're going to do on July 12th. I guess maybe we'll do that again.
Well, I like the idea of giving people a tool to weigh in, donate, or do some action as opposed to simply going dark. I think that's a clever tactic.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think we're in a season of heightened political action. If there's a new twist to be made on this case, someone who is hyper politically active with this group, I'm trying to get their name, Media Mobilizing Project, said, freedom of speech doesn't mean much without the freedom to be heard.
Right.
And I think if you look at anything from all sides, left or right, the Tea Party, Occupy, Black Lives Matter, Women's March, Truth March, Science March, other abstract ideas that apparently need defending in these current times march, that those new ways of organizing and distributing power essentially is because we all have a right to connect to each other and we're not relegated to a crap lane on the internet. So if you care about any of those things, in addition to just a more sound technical infrastructure, you should be in support of net neutrality.
Well,
rules.
you know what I don't understand? Maybe somebody in the chat room could help me out. I don't understand who benefits from dropping network neutrality other than the big internet service providers. I mean, usually is there anybody?
This is interesting.
I think that there's a case to be made, right, where if from a cost savings perspective, and we've spent a lot of time talking about Amazon deals and how they're not really deals, but if you get a cell phone and it has an allowance of 2 gigabytes a month of data, but YouTube is thrown in for free, or that provider's preferred music plan is thrown in for free, you could argue that consumers benefit. And I think that's the twisted way of painting this picture, is that by sort of determining winners and losers at this high corporate level, you can offer that for free, but it's at a great disservice to the potential
they're doing that anyway.
New voice or new platform.
All right, because
so I think that's a counter argument against net neutrality.
There are legitimate, I have to say this, there are legitimate people, intelligent people who are in favor of dropping Title II regulation for a variety of reasons. There are intelligent people who say the government, including the FCC, should in no way govern the internet, and I have to agree with that. But I would point out that that's not what we're asking the FCC to do. We're not asking them to regulate the internet. We're asking them to regulate companies that bring the internet to millions of consumers who have already shown that they would like to choose winners and losers on the internet.
And it's not as
what
if
we're
we have
trying to
companies
say
to
is,
choose from.
I think it's appropriate for government to regulate that.
And it's practically a monopoly. Anyway, it's a duopoly at best.
Yeah. Well, thanks to the FCC, I got to point out that that's part of what the FCC did. History of government intervention in the internet is not, all kittens and puppies. I don't want, as somebody who makes his living bringing content over the internet to people.
Right.
It's really important to me that Comcast not come to you and say, "Hey, Twit's going to cost you, but Netflix is not. So, which would you like to watch tonight?" I don't think they should get to choose winners and losers. Right. Now, it's up to Congress ultimately.
I think this is one of these great issues that it's not really a partisan issue. I mean, I know a lot of libertarians that feel just as strongly about net neutrality as I do. And, one of the things I think is just so interesting is engineers I talk to that work in tech, we all understand the dangers that are here for, free dispersal of information. So I think I think there are some fringe people that have a different opinion, but I think generally speaking, the people advocating for this are the big telecom companies, which have huge lobbying, firms in Washington, D.C. Al Franken, in his last book, we were talking about that earlier, Leo, he talks about working with Comcast and how they came and testified before Congress with the NBC Universal deal and completely reneged on what they said they were going to do. So, I just think there's every single reason to be skeptical that these giant telecom companies are going to, treat this correctly. So I'm 100% in favor of it.
I guess I should have booked somebody who is against net neutrality because I'm not doing a very good job arguing the case. But I think there are legitimate, intelligent people who are in favor of at least of overturning these FCC rules.
I mean, one argument is that it ain't broke, don't fix it. I mean, net neutrality wasn't on the books until about a year ago, and this
not even that long. I don't think it really. When did it become
relatively? I think it came into effect this actually January. But the point is that we had no net neutrality codified by Congress or the FCC, and things weren't horrible. But I see even with net neutrality, I'm seeing all these AT&T deals with what do they call their DirecTV? I'm seeing T-Mobile, and there are deals going on anyway, despite network neutrality. So you may actually still get your free Netflix given the current. I'm not exactly sure how they do it, but there are ways around net neutrality even under the current FCC rule.
Yeah. Jawbone shutting down. I thought this was a great company. They started by making Bluetooth speakers. They pretty much created that category. Remember the Jambox? What a great Bluetooth speaker that was. That was a huge hit. But they were, of course, immediately faced competition from China and elsewhere, and they really couldn't in any way own the Bluetooth speaker market. So they looked for greenfields they could try to own, and they went to the fitness device. Remember, they created was it the Jawbone Up, the Up band? Had some problems. One of them had nickel in it, which caused allergies, and they had to recall all of them. And so they were at one point valued as high as $3 billion. They've thrown in the towel. They're liquidating their assets. And its founder, Hossein Rahman, is starting a new company called Jawbone Health Hub, which will work on medical software and hardware. I don't know if it'll have a consumer-facing product or not. And they have raised money. But, they have litigation going on with Fitbit. That will be taken over by, I think some people bought the remaining assets of Jawbone.
I think they've always reminded me a lot of Palm. Palm had such a strong early product in that category, but as time went on, they were just unable to innovate. They're unable to bring it to the next level. Yeah. And, I own their early products just like everyone else did. But I think the Beats X headphones, those came out. They're really great, very easy to use. They're stylish.
Right. Before they did this speaker, they did Jawbone Bluetooth. You're right. Bluetooth headsets.
Yeah,
you're right.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think they never innovated.
Yeah. Well, it just became. I think this is going to be a problem for a lot of companies that you can't enter a market, create a market, and then hold that market,
right?
Because Chinese cloners and others will come along, and unless you have some secret sauce, you're going to face terrific competition.
How's TiVo doing? That was an example. They owned the market of digital recorders for a while, right? Now they're commodities, and every cable operator offers one. And, these are companies, they say about pioneers having arrows in their back. You have to give them credit. We all owe them a debt of gratitude for having been pioneers. But at the end of the day, it's a competitive landscape, and they just don't own their market.
One way you protect that, of course, with patents.
Yeah.
And there's a big battle going on right now between Apple and Qualcomm. Yes. And the more I learn about this, the more I'm kind of on the side of Qualcomm, believe it or not.
Really?
Yeah. So here's and you can argue, tell me why I'm wrong here. Kind of starting to think this way. Qualcomm did create a huge number of innovations. They invented CDMA. They made CDMA radios. That's where they made their big bucks. Of course, CDMA is being phased out now. But nevertheless, anybody who makes a cell phone must license technology from Qualcomm. You just have to. They own so many patents in that area. And rightly, they're not a patent troll. They invented so many technologies that are used in cell phones. Apple was paying them a lot of money. I'm told it ended up being a few dollars per handset. Mm-hmm. That's what Samsung pays and others. But at some point, Apple decided we don't want to pay anymore. And so they're suing Qualcomm for $1 billion and stopped paying the license fees. Qualcomm has countersued saying we want our license fees. I'm and maybe, this is, of course, patent law and so forth. This is complicated. But there is a lot of, here's Qualcomm, there's a little poster or infographic that Qualcomm made on some of the patents. And what Qualcomm's latest blow in this is to go to the ITC, the U.S. International Trade Commission, and say, Apple, we want you to rule that Apple cannot import any iPhones using the Intel chips. Apple last year in the iPhone 7 replaced the Qualcomm chip in some of their phones, not all of them, with Intel radios. The Intel radios did for LTE. They didn't work as well. And Apple, this is another thing Qualcomm's suing over. Apple slowed down the Qualcomm radios because they wanted them to be the same. They wanted every iPhone to be the same. So I have an Intel radio in my iPhone because I got it from T-Mobile. I think it was AT&T, T-Mobile, have the Intel chips because they're GSM.
Right.
And Apple slowed down the Verizon and Sprint phones so that they would all be equally slow, which Qualcomm was mad about. Our technology is better, but Apple's making it limp. And so they've asked the ITC to ban all Intel-based iPhones from the United States.
It seems like part of
the from this.
Go ahead, Brianna, and then
yeah. My husband, he is head of IP for major company on the NASDAQ, right? So we talk about intellectual property a lot in our house. I definitely agree with you that Qualcomm has an awesome case here, and they did invent the core technology there. But the way that this was negotiated originally with the iPhone, it's not that they're paying a standard fee for these core technologies. It's that they're getting a certain percentage of every single iPhone sale, period. And Apple isn't saying we don't want to pay anything for your patents. They are saying we want to bring you back to the table and pay you a more standard fee. Something we talk about a lot in intellectual property is reasonable licensing rate for core technologies like CDMA. So I think that this is one of these situations where I think both people are right. Qualcomm did a lot of innovation there, but the reason people buy iPhones today, or at least this is Apple's argument, has more to do with the screen technology, the responsiveness of it, Touch ID, the camera, those core features. And Apple's argument is, that CDMA technology inside of it, the speed of it, that's not why people are buying phones. So I think that's a believable argument. So I think
here's the counter argument: if they're not buying phones for that, take that out of your phone and see if they buy your phone.
Right? Yeah,
they won't.
Right. Right.
I
think you may say they're not buying the phones because of that, but if you take it out, they ain't buying the phone. That sounds to me like those are critical technologies.
Sure. And that's, I'm not saying I believe that. I'm saying that's Apple's argument. Right. I would say this, for core technologies, I do think we need to make sure that people don't set the fees so high that consumers end up paying unreasonable fees to basically pay for these patents. So we need reasonable licensing rates for core technologies.
Yeah, so isn't it FRAND, fair and reasonable? I can't remember what FRAND stands for, but I don't know how many of these are FRAND patents. At least 6 Qualcomm asserts are not FRAND. They're not essential, but Apple uses them. And as a result, Apple should pay for them. If you're going to use them, pay for them. I don't know.
The problem is that Apple doesn't want to pay a percentage, of these phone sales. Too much cash is going out as a percentage. They could just lower the price of the iPhone and effectively pay Qualcomm less money. We would all be happier. I think that's
how price sensitive are Apple phone buyers? I think we pay whatever Apple charges, right?
Yeah.
Just trying to think outside the box here and help Apple out, and help resolve this. I'm a mediator in this corporate financial, this ledger battle between two mass corporations.
Peace in our time. I think it's about time. Anyway, yeah. So good. I think obviously we need to have more of a conversation about this. I feel like, look, Qualcomm's taken the nuclear option. If you ban half the iPhones that come into the country, that's going to be a big issue.
Yeah,
and it's not going to make Qualcomm any friends among the public either.
Nope.
So they're probably they're attached to a gravy train. The iPhone is a runaway hit. They want to keep that as high as possible. Sure. Like they want as much money as possible. Apple wants to pay as little as possible. And all sound business people, they're taking it to court. That's just what you do.
Let's just take it to court.
Just business.
Hey, let's take a little break, and we're going to wrap things up because we're on the 2-hour mark. And it's funny. I'm getting this show is getting longer, but bladders aren't getting any bigger. So I think it really probably be a good time to take a little break right here. And anybody who wants to run off can. While we talk a little bit about the Tracker, a coin-sized tracking device that I love. I just got the new Tracker. You have one? You're putting it out?
My wife's got my keys.
Where's my keys? Where's my keys? It pairs to your phone. This was, I think, the first Bluetooth tracking device. They big Kickstarter. Remember, they've gotten so much better. We saw the Tracker Bravo come out. I think it was last year. About the size of a quarter, weighs less, anodized aluminum, replaceable battery. We just got the new Tracker Pixels. John, would you bring me my keys? It's on my desk. Because I got the Tracker Pixel attached to it. This is awesome because the Pixel has, it's first of all the lightest Bluetooth tracking device on the market. It's even smaller, even lighter. And I love this. They put LEDs on it. So, a lot of times when you lose the keys, it's because they're under the sofa or they're in a cushion. Now you can get the LEDs to light up And it makes it even easier to find them. Look how little this tracker pixel is. It's tiny, teeny weeny. And like all the trackers, it has a button on it, so you can press the button, and that will call your phone. They've got two-way separation alerts. So if you leave your phone behind, the tracker screams at you. But if you leave the tracker behind, the phone will let you know. The tracker app on your phone shows where your trackers are. You can have up to 10 trackers paired to a phone, and now you can have trackers paired to multiple phones. So that means everybody in the family can help you look for your keys. If you misplace an item that has a tracker pixel attached, you just trigger the pixel, and a 90 decibel alert and powerful LED lights will light up, and you will find that device.
So my tracker is somewhere near the Mystic Theater.
That's nearby. That's down the Mystic is where the old place was. You better tell your wife we moved.
She's got my keys.
So the tracker is great, but it also has one feature that no other tracking device has, the global GPS network. So if the problem is if your wife left those keys at the Mystic and drove off, there'd be no phone tracking those keys. But here's the beauty part. Somebody walks by that theater who's got the tracker, and there's 4.5 million tracker customers out there. Their phone will see your tracker and ping your phone.
That explains why, even though my tracker is connected to my phone, but it's still tracking.
That's how you know.
Because if somebody
else saw it. That is so sweet. This is kind of brilliant. 4.5 million trackers out there. Look at the map. They're all over the world. Okay, don't lose your keys in Siberia or Greenland. But other than that, you're covered. Actually, there's even a few in Greenland, I see.
I have to tell you, I love trackers so much, and I've used some of the ones from other competitors. And what I hate about them is it's so bad for the environment because you spend like $100 on 4 of them.
You have to throw them out.
And then a year goes by, and you have to throw it out.
That makes me nuts.
And it is so ridiculous because the competitor's product is okay, but it's so expensive because if you have a lot of these, like you're going to end up paying like $200 a year for.
So all the trackers, you can open them up. Even this new one, you can open it up, put in a new battery, so it's good to go. And that you're right, Brianna. That is a really big differentiator, and I really like that about Tracker. Save the environment and your keys at the same time. We got a good deal for you if you go to thetracker.com. and use the promo code TWIT. Load up your shopping basket, and then that promo code will take 20% off any order. THETR. Actually, the website's harder to find than your keys. THETRACKR.com.
They're working on a wallet. It's going to have tracker embedded in the wallet. Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah,
wow.
Which is a great idea. You can still put a tracker in your wallet, but it's going to actually be embedded.
Well, that would even be better. Yeah. Thetracker.com. Don't forget that promo code TWIT. You'll save 20%. And I love this new Tracker Pixel. It's so cool.
Yeah, that's great.
We have had so much fun. You guys are just dynamite. Oh, it lit up. I made it light up. I forgot to do that.
You can also ping your phone from your tracker.
Yeah. Right. You guys are so great. Baratunde Thurston, always a pleasure to have you on the show. You're muted right now. So.
Oh, am I?
Oh, no, you're okay. You just came back. Okay.
Okay. It would be hard for me to be here without my old TWIT compatriot, Nick Bilton. And so during the break, Nick actually sent me a message. He says hello to everyone.
Hey, Nick.
And I would be a bad friend if I didn't tell you his book, American Kingpin, is great. So I'll use the balance of my time to promote Nick, tell you to give money to Brianna, and check out connectsafely.org.
Wow,
what a guy.
Make the world a better
First time
place.
anybody's ever plugged everybody else instead of himself. American Kingpin is the story behind the Silk Road and how the FBI caught Ross Ulbricht. And Nick is a great writer. His Twitter book was incredible. But this one, you can't put it down. We got Nick coming on Triangulation in the next couple of weeks, I think. We had him scheduled, and he couldn't do it, but we've rescheduled, and he will be on the next couple of weeks to join us and talk about his new book. Yeah, Nick's a great guy.
I bought that book after I came on last time, and I swear this is true. The next day, I sat down, and I had meetings, and I just read the book straight through it because it was that addictive. I've read it 4 times.
What?
It's so good.
Wow.
That is a really is a.
Are you guys in competition for the best plug? Is that what's going on?
I'm not kidding. I love this book. I love this book. It would be a fine work of fiction, and the fact that it's all true makes it just an amazing work of journalism. It's stunning.
I think you should put that on the back, Nick. An amazing work of journalism. Brianna Wu. Brianna, good luck with your campaign. We're going to have you on many more times before the primary, but I still want to make sure everybody knows to support Brianna Wu, supportbrianna.com, and to visit her website, Brianna Wu 2018. We clearly need somebody like you in Congress, and you know what? Your message is important. Get involved, run, vote, participate, because if we don't, then we have no reason to complain.
Right.
Absolutely.
Thank you,
You know, and unlike other politicians, if you send a tweet to me, I'll actually talk to you. Like, it won't be one of my staff. You can actually talk to me. So feel
Tell
free
us
to
about
reach
this
out.
American flag behind you. That's very cool. I really like that.
You know, I got it from, I honestly got it from Amazon. And I was looking for a backdrop, something that just wasn't generic American flag. And I just loved it.
That's
I thought
really
it
cool. Yeah.
symbolized like where we kind of
It's
are
art.
as a country.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Well, it's on Amazon, folks.
He's buying it already.
What is it, right?
Jeff Bezos.
Yeah. Of course, we always want to thank Larry Magid for making the trip here. You see him on CBS Radio. You visit his website, Larry's World, and don't forget connectsafely.org.
Yep.
And great articles there, lots of information. And I've used the, I don't know if it's Safe for Kids or Connect Safely. You have the internet contract, but that's
that's on safekids.com.
safekids.com. That is a really useful tool for any parent who has kids that are starting to venture out onto the internet, especially, I think, teens and preteens.
Yeah, one of the things that I think makes us a little different from some of the internet safety groups is we really respect kids, respect their rights, but sometimes we all need a little help.
And respect the internet.
And respect the internet, absolutely.
Yeah.
Also freedom of speech.
Yeah.
It's, you know, we can protect our children without having to sanitize the internet. The internet can still be there for everybody.
Yeah. Well done. It's a great site.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We had a great studio audience. You guys, thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. It makes it a lot more fun for us to know that there's actually 6 people listening. If you want to be in the studio audience, we love having an open studio. All you have to do is email tickets@twit.tv, and we'll arrange. Well, first of all, we'll send you directions to our hidden location, and then we'll arrange a chair so that you have somewhere to sit. If you can't be here in person, you can always watch live. We stream everything we do at our website, twit.tv/live, or youtube.com/twit, or ustream.com/twit, or twitch.tv/twit. If you want to watch live, I encourage you to join us in the chat room too, irc.twit.tv. The chat room is always full of great and interesting people who keep us honest and offer often opposing viewpoints, which we welcome. irc.twit.tv. Now, most of you don't participate live because you've got a life. So for those of you with lives, just remember twit.tv, the website, has downloadable on-demand versions of everything we do, including this show, audio and video. And of course, you probably have a program or an app that you use to get podcasts. Use that and subscribe because you want to get every single episode. Thank you so much for being here. And we'll see you next time. Next Sunday, what time is it? It's 3 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern, 2200 UTC. I did the math in my head, all by myself. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time. Another Twit is in the can. Bye-bye.
Are you still naming it? Are you still naming it?
Every show we name
That's a good show.
Doing the Twit.